Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
The Mariners beat the Twins in a series opener, and Cal Raleigh continues to mount his case for AL MVP. But how close is that race really? I mean, Aaron Judge has an advantage in almost every statistical category, but we're going to dive in right now. Join this conversation, 866-979-3776. Curtis.
Stacy.
We saw many home runs yesterday,
Yeah,
and
we did.
I don't want to not give credit where it's due to Julio Rodriguez. That was great to see. His first bomb
Love
since
seeing that.
May. Dom Canzone and Luke Raley all homered. So
Fun day.
just credit where it's due. We do want to be able to talk about these guys.
That was enough home runs, right?
Truly, I felt spoiled.
They didn't need any more after that.
They had enough runs at that point.
Yeah.
And yet, you still had Raleigh with a two-run home run.
I can't wait to hear
top
this
of the
one.
ninth.
The 2-1 pitch. Swing and a well-hit ball. Deep to left field. And this one is gone. Goodbye, baseball. And Cal Raleigh has become the first Mariner in history to hit 10 or more home runs in 3 consecutive months. A 2-run home run here in the top of the 9th inning. The Mariners now lead Minnesota 11-2. Cal hit 12 home runs in April, 10 in May, 10 more. There's number 10 here in the month of June. And Cal Raleigh with more history tonight here in Minnesota. And the incredible season just continues.
Those MVP chants you hear are from a Minnesota crowd. Now, I don't know how many Twins fans were actually participating. You could see Mariners fans on the broadcast. But, oh, my God. Once again, credit to Julio. It was really good to see that, and we'll talk a bit about it later, particularly in the dugout from 1 to 2. But Cal Raleigh is on a record-breaking kind of streak. I mean, we're talking, now this is pre-All-Star break, but we're talking Barry Bonds home run numbers. He will not end up with 73 home runs, 74 home runs, but he's on pace for 66 right now.
Yeah.
He is leading the league in home runs. He's homered in 4 straight games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I owe you guys donuts.
You do, yeah. There were no donuts this morning for those who...
I know, the donut place was closed.
Which is wild.
I'm
who
telling you,
closes
it's
a donut
true.
place on a Tuesday morning?
It's called Family Donuts. I
think
tried to go
if
by.
there's one day out of the week where you could use a donut, I
It's
think
a Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning is probably that. You're in the middle of the work week. You're further away from the weekend than you were. You're just...
And you're looking to celebrate what Cal's doing.
Exactly.
Curtis, speaking of what Cal's doing, is he actually making a solid case for AL MVP? This is the number one topic floating around baseball right now. It's fun to debate, but almost every single podcast, every single show, every single panel that I watch ends on, I mean, it's fun that he's making a case, but it's Aaron Judge's award to lose.
And when people say that, it kind of feels like they're patting Cal on the head, like, oh, cute, 32 home runs, you play catcher. But no, what he is doing is something we have never, ever seen before from anybody, not just from a catcher, but from anybody. Like, we're having to kind of look at Cal's season in a different light because we're always comparing it to like Mariners history where you had all those stats last year where it was like, oh, he passed Dan Wilson for most home runs by a catcher in a Mariners career. Like, how cool is that? Like, wow. And now it's like, oh my gosh, he is having a season that like Mickey Mantle never had, Chipper Jones never had, Eddie Murray never had as great switch hitters. And I mean, he's having one of the very best power hitting seasons we've ever seen. You mentioned the 66 home run pace. That's sort of like one of the unfortunate outcomes of the steroid era is that 66 home runs isn't all that impressive anymore, even though...
Nothing is impressive to anyone anymore. I was complaining to you about this earlier. Too many people I'm seeing going, Cal was a mid-player before this. He was hitting 30 bombs a season before this. Yeah. No one's blown away by anything.
I mean, 66 home runs is such a staggering total because the only players that have ever hit more than that in a season, you can count on one hand. Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, and Sammy Sosa. Nobody else has hit more than 66 home runs in an entire season. We all went crazy a couple of years ago, specifically ESPN, for cutting into every broadcast when Aaron Judge was up at the plate, when he was about to pass Roger Maris's record of 61 home runs. Right, exactly. Like, that was a big deal. But, like, if Cal blows past that by, like, 4 or 5 home runs this season, like, will he get the same kind of coverage? But I think that Cal Raleigh deserves the respect that his numbers have obviously warranted this season, because Aaron Judge, as we've seen, the power numbers have not been there over the last week or so. And yes, the batting average is still up, 367 or something like that, but it's not near 400 the way it was. And I just think that you have to at least grant Cal a seat at the table. Like, it is not just a one-man it's not a one-man show right now. It is Cal Raleigh and it is Aaron Judge.
So with the acknowledgement of two important things, that runs are the most valuable thing in baseball, and Cal has 32 home runs to Judge's. He has 28 now, right? Because he hit one yesterday as well.
I believe so, yeah.
So not a massive discrepancy there, but Cal obviously leading him. And because of that, more RBI. He actually has more stolen bases, 9 stolen bases for Cal Raleigh. He's on pace for 15 to Judge's 6. Okay, cool. So 3 categories, but one of them being one of the most important categories. Mm-hmm. You still got, you mentioned the 367 average, on base percentage 468, slugging 727, both OPSing over 1,000, but 1.2 for Aaron Judge, OPS plus 229 to 200. WAR's a tough one. So I'm looking at Baseball Reference, but 5.6 for Aaron Judge and a 4.2 for Cal. Either way you look at it, if you're looking at like Fangraphs or whatever, there's still about one difference. Mm-hmm. That being said, is that accurately measuring for a catcher a win above replacement?
It's tough. I mean, Cal's defensive numbers.
I'm not a stat head,
right?
So
Cal's defensive numbers haven't been as good as they were a year ago, but he's more than making up for that with the bat right now. If his defensive numbers were to the level that they were in 2024 right now, I think that difference between Judge and Cal would be a little bit smaller. I don't think Cal would overtake him unless he, was throwing runners out like crazy. But I just think that you have to consider all the variables in voting for MVP, and it can't just be like, oh, Aaron Judge hits a ton of home runs and plays for the Yankees, which I think that's kind of what a lot of voters end up doing, is like, which guy have I seen more of on my TV?
Well, and to be fair, though, he is doing unreal things.
Yes, but I would appreciate it more if voters took the time out and actually like put in some research into their vote, rather than just glancing at the TV and being like, oh, there's number 99.
What do you think people misunderstand about Cal Raleigh, where it like requires more research?
I think just the demands of the catching position. Like, people aren't as impressed by his offensive numbers because we've seen guys have years like this in the past, but they fail to look at the fact that he's doing it from the catching position. We have never, ever seen a catcher have these kinds of power numbers. And Mike Piazza is probably the only guy who's come relatively close. And I think he hit over 40 home runs a couple of times. And Bump watched a lot of his career being a Dodger fan growing up in L.A. When Bump is back tomorrow, maybe we can ask him, like, hey, what was it like, watching Mike Piazza do what he did and watching Cal right now? But the context of him being a catcher and doing all this should just make up for a lot of what people are missing on Cal.
I don't disagree. I rewatched an interview that Cal had with Mookie Betts from like 10 months ago, and he was being asked, when do you actually have time to talk to like look at your ABs, and to the way that if you were a right fielder and you're in the dugout and you're not up and you're not going to be up and you get a chance to kind of, look at a tablet or talk with your coach or review things. Cal was like, yeah, I mean, you do a disservice to the pitchers if and you distract yourself if you're thinking about any of that when you're behind the dish. So you kind of just do it, like between innings, literally during a commercial break. Yeah. You have a chance to like quickly go over anything that you might need to review.
Between innings are like 2 minutes.
And I just thought, like, never having been a catcher, I thought, man, I've never realized that you have 2 minutes an inning to like go over something that another guy might spend a full inning kind of reviewing. Now, I don't want to take away from Aaron Judge, and none of this is meant to take away from what Aaron Judge is doing, which is historic. What it's meant to do is, like Curtis said, add a little context or kind of re-examine what we're seeing from Cal. So you're right. The demands of the catching position are part of that. The time that he's playing, I think I saw someone say that Aaron Judge has more DH starts than Cal's. Cal's got 17, I want to say. And he's played in all but one game for the Mariners this year.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'll need to double check it. Curtis is looking it up. But
I am.
Because
18 games starting as DH for Aaron Judge this season.
And 17 for Cal, I think. So, I mean, roughly the same, but still, I think that it's painted as catchers we know need to take more time off. And he has not even taken that time off.
No, I think he has one full day off this season. Because one game that he was slated to take off, he was used as a pinch hitter in the 9th inning against the A's, ended up getting, I think it was like a 2-run single to give him the lead.
I was going to throw you another question.
Yeah.
This is not necessarily how MVP is actually measured by voters, but I see it often campaigned as an approach to MVP voting from fans. And it is who actually is more valuable to his team. Even that, you can certainly make a case for either player.
Yeah.
Do the Yankees make the playoffs without Aaron Judge?
I think they get close. I think they're definitely within earshot of the playoffs. Probably
I don't think
more
it's
of
a
a
given.
Yeah, I don't think they're winning the AL East because I think the Rays have been coming on pretty strong here. The Blue Jays have been doing all right. But I think they're definitely in the wild card hunt without Aaron Judge in their lineup.
Mariners?
You remove Cal Raleigh from this team, I don't think they're above 500 for
I
sure.
think they're many games below 500.
I think they're struggling to win, at a 450 win percentage. I think they're probably like, how many games have they played right now? They've played 77, 40 and 37. They're probably like 30 and 47 instead of 40 and 37, 10 games worse than what they are right now. Like he means so much to what the Mariners are doing right now. And I think that's kind of why the conversation the last couple of days has been like, don't let this go to waste. Don't let what we're seeing go to waste because, I mean, he is doing the heaviest lifting of anybody on this roster right now. Go and get this guy some help.
And he has a great power source.
He does. Yeah, like he could probably squat, 400, 500 pounds.
So on the one hand, maybe best suited to do the lifting, but let's not make him do it all season long. That wear and tear is no joke. Curtis from the 253, true or false? If Cal breaks Judge's AL home run record, he wins MVP no matter what Judge does. What would I'll say
that's
this?
That's a good one. Yeah.
How many more home runs would Cal need than Aaron Judge for you as a diehard baseball fan?
Yeah.
I know that you hate the Yankees. You're from here, but you're also very aware of what players around the league are doing, and you know what Judge is doing. How many more home runs would Cal need for you to justify? You could make a baseball argument for Cal winning over Aaron.
I think if Cal finishes with like 8 to 10 more than Aaron Judge, then I think he's got a good shot.
So
58. 58, and Judge has like 48.
What if it's like 58 and 56?
Then I think Judge probably gets
We
it.
would have seen him have more home runs by any catcher by 10.
Yeah, I know. Which is it's so stupid. Like, gosh, this is like one of the few times you wish Cal Raleigh was in the National League or Aaron Judge was in the National League.
Oh, he'd have it run away.
Yeah, there's nobody in the National League close to what Cal's doing.
On the flip side, easier to make the playoffs for both teams being in a weakened American League, a watered-down American League. So on the one hand, you may not get MVP, Cal. On the other hand, your Mariners are more likely to make it to the playoffs when they don't have to beat out the Dodgers and Padres and Giants and Diamondbacks with an easy schedule.
Teams.
We'll get to that in 15 minutes when we start looking at some of these sellers. Curtis, I'm glad you mentioned, hey, you want to make sure to take advantage of what Cal's doing. Well, how do they take advantage? We're going to talk about potential positions we'd like to see them add, where they need the most help, and then we'll take a look at some of the teams that might be sellers. It's all moving. It's constantly evolving as we inch towards the trade deadline. Right now, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever make their first trip to Seattle this season to face the Storm tonight. What's the real headline?
Don't call out sick tomorrow because the Storm are going to beat this Fever.
Oh!
I was stubbornly wanting to use a Fever joke, and
Just call the Storm ibuprofen because they're beating this Fever.
I mean, it's really more of a
Tylenol?
Yeah, Tylenol.
Yeah.
I'd go Tylenol.
Yeah. Advil.
Oh, God.
I'm excited for this matchup. This Fever have gotten off to a slow start this year just because of Clark being out for those couple of weeks. They're 6-7 on the season. Seattle with a 9-5 record right now. They have played, I think, a lot better than what people were expecting, especially after they traded away Jewel Lloyd before the year. Have gotten some really good contributions out of Gabby Williams, Skylar Diggins. She's playing well. Nneka Ogwumike is playing really well. I'm excited for this matchup. I believe it's an NBA TV game, so national audience for this one.
What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline 2, Aaron Rodgers told Pat McAfee this morning that this is likely his last year playing in the NFL. What's the real headline?
Aaron Rodgers just saved all of us another offseason of speculation. Thank you, Aaron. We appreciate this service.
Is it over?
I mean, it's never fully over, but him saying, at the very least, I'm pretty sure this is going to be it for me.
We heard it so often from Brett Favre that it was going to be it. We heard it so often from Ben Roethlisberger when he was in Pittsburgh that, this might be it. And then when it finally happens, it's kind of like, oh, okay. I am not going to believe this until I see somebody else taking snaps for the Steelers next year come week 1. If somebody else is taking snaps week 1, sure. But I think there will always be a door left open for Aaron Rodgers, especially because Pittsburgh, they have no quarterback plans beyond this season. They have nothing in place.
You know, the interesting thing about Aaron Rodgers, I don't think Aaron Rodgers would ever be benched. Not even by Mike Tomlin, who's a tough coach. I don't know that he'll be benched.
Well, yeah, I mean, consider the options in Pittsburgh.
I mean, Shuck. Well, it would probably go to Rudolph, would be your number 2.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph probably gets, Oof. Don't envy that.
It's a weird situation for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, and if you're DK Metcalf, there's a lot
there
hinging
will
on
be,
a
no,
41-year-old
there is
Aaron
going to be
Rodgers.
one very cool, deep, down the field bomb to DK Metcalf. You already know.
Right.
At least one of those in the
he's
books.
one of the best deep ball threats still as a wide receiver. I know his one-on-one numbers last year weren't great, but I would still take DK Metcalf running a go route over just about anybody in the NFL. As for Aaron Rodgers, does he have the cannon still? Does he have the howitzer?
Oh, I'm sure not quite the same, right? Like, my memory of Aaron Rodgers is like a Hail Mary against the Lions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you saw some things last year. You know what? I'm not going to lie. Before a second half implosion, he was cooking a little bit against the Seahawks.
Yeah, he
that
was.
first quarter, he was moving and grooving.
And then Leonard Williams.
And then he ended it.
He was like, enough of this.
Yeah, he was like, I needed to respect. Look, Unc, I needed to respect my elders for a minute. Let you have this first quarter, but then they took over. But there were moments for Rodgers, and it's so hard to evaluate anything, any player, any coach connected to the Jets because the organization is so dysfunctional that you try to strip away, how good would this player be elsewhere? Now, I'm not saying that the Steelers are a better equipped team. Mm-hmm. Their offensive line got plenty of flack last year, but obviously a better organization.
Also, getting back to that Seahawks-Jets game last year, I think it was also Laviska Shenault's fault for that game being as poor as it was to start. He had the two muffed kicks.
Yes. Remember when he was a Pro Bowler for a minute there?
And then he was gone. He didn't make it. I don't even know if he got on the team flight back to Seattle. He got cut, I believe, the day after that game.
My memories of that game are also, I forget where they started on a goal line situation. So they're in the red zone. I don't know if it's 1st and 10, 1st and 12, or 1st and 5. I can't totally remember. But
and it took them 8 plays to get in. They didn't get in the end zone.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't get it into the end zone. And I swear, it wasn't mic'd up by any means, so you're just guessing. But I swear there was this shot of Mike McDonald, and I thought he said, "Why are we throwing it?" Or "Why are we?" He just looked so frustrated with what they were doing.
Seahawks in goal
I think that was a mark against Grubb. That was one of the marks against Grubb.
In goal line situations last year,
Name a tougher
or short
pairing.
yardage situation Oh, brutal. They kept him from winning like 12 games last year.
Enough of that. Let's get back to Cal Raleigh.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, Cal Raleigh was named AL Player of the Week yesterday, and he is in second place among AL All-Star vote getters. What's the real headline?
Imagine having Barry Bonds' mid-season home run
That's
numbers
right.
and being fairly in second place. And that's not making a mockery of Cal's season. It's saying that Cal is doing something we've never seen before, and that's how unreal Judge's season is so far.
Yeah.
It helps that he's a Yankee.
It does.
It does.
He's
That's
probably
just
just
a
like,
fact.
what can I do?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that I got to do to overtake this guy? And I don't want to root for like injury or anything, but if Aaron Judge were to miss some time, like that would probably be right now the only feasible way for Cal to do it.
I mean, Aaron Judge cooling off. What a lot of Yankees fans are gonna point to, because you can't make like a defense argument.
Right.
You can't be like, oh, one of them's, Aaron's a Gold Glover, Silver Slugger. It's only average on base percentage, slugging. That he just gets on base far more often.
Yeah.
And it's an incredibly fair case. Like, it's not. I'm not slighting any of that, but I think if you started to dip back towards a very healthy 300, then I think, you know what I mean? Like, if Cal's hitting 267 and Aaron's
slumping
like
to a 300.
yeah, and if
average.
Judge is around 300, that feels less drastic than what Aaron Judge has been doing. So, speaking of the All-Star break, the 2025 MLB All-Star ballot is open. Cal, Julio, JP, and the crew need your help, especially for JP. Let's get JP more votes to secure a spot at this year's Midsummer Classic in Atlanta. I feel like that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
I need to campaign for other
There's
Americans.
like
Cal's got
9th in the
it.
American League.
Cal's got it. He's starting. Go cast some votes for JP Crawford. You can vote up to 5 times per day, every day through this Thursday, June 26th at MLB.com/vote. Also, great news, you can now vote directly from the Seattle Sports app. Just click the Vote tab in the lower right-hand corner of the app and then vote directly. If you don't have the app, shame on you. Shame
That's
on
right.
you. But you should also download it because you can listen to us anytime. You can listen to Mariners games. Podcasts.
Read all of the articles on
All
our
kinds
website.
of stuff. The latest from potential MLB deadline sellers coming your way next.
The most first-half home runs for a catcher in baseball history.
Congratulations, Cal Raleigh,
Big dumper.
American League Player of the Week. A .417 average.
OPS over 1,600, 5 homers, 12 ribbies.
And one hell of a model American.
Now, the question of whether or not he's the front runner as AL MVP.
Where you follow along the big dumpers, big run. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Rick Rizzs here for the Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington's Improve Your Play program. Many of our local youth sports teams need help with field enhancements, training, and equipment. Local Pella owners Keith Dashafee and Luke Wilson are stepping up to donate $5,000 to 2 deserving teams. We need your help finding them. Head to seattlesports.com/play to nominate a deserving team in need. Let's help our local youth improve their play this year with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Contest and rules at seattlesports.com/play.
Values have to be within your leadership staff, right? And then that filters down into the rest of your staff.
We are together, we are a team, and without that thought process, you're sunk.
I still revert back to, if I work at a location and I'm willing to have my son work at this location, that should tell you a great deal. I didn't steer my son away, I steered my son to it.
They call it the Lee Johnson Auto family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family.
As much as I'd love to think that they trust me, yeah, our family name is trusted, but it's because of those individual interactions with our people that those folks have had over the years. That's where they build their trust with the relationship.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck. and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This was drafted in 1999 by the Philadelphia 76ers, and that was just absolutely a dream come true.
Todd's playing in the NBA is unique. His battle with neuropathy is not.
I first started noticing problems a couple years into my NBA career, and I felt like my sock was just balled up right in the arch of my foot, and there'd be areas of burning and tingling, and then there'd be other areas of deadness where there would be no response to touch. We tried everything possible, from surgery to different drugs, to try and take care of some of the symptoms.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, non-drug, pain-free procedures that have helped thousands of neuropathy sufferers find relief.
Now I'm able to spend more time doing the things that I enjoy, being on my feet.
If you experience numbness, shooting, or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. Not a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and we've been talking about this. Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. You can book now for an unforgettable summer experience because the hotel opens up August 8th. Bookings are open at snocasino.com starting on August 8th. The expanded non-gaming floor, the destination spa, the big new entertainment space and convention center, new restaurants as well. They're combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. Go to snocasino.com for details. Seattle's closest, now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same, and that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today. And Curtis, while we're talking about the Seattle Mariners and moving on from just a Cal Raleigh conversation, which we'll jump back to at 10:45, worth mentioning the areas where we'd love to see this team improve, what we think their biggest needs are, and then talking about where they can actually find answers. It's one thing to do half of that conversation. It's one thing to go, the Mariners, they need to be better to make the playoffs. Anyways, coming up next, let's try to look at the teams that Justin and Jerry and the rest of this front office are going to have to look at, because it's a little tougher to actually find those solutions.
Right.
So I'll start with areas of need, and then we'll focus on a couple sellers and some of what Bob Nightingale had to say about a team he'd be rooting against actively if he were a Mariners fan. Curtis, when you look at this team, they've been pretty prolific offensively for a couple of games, but are you settled with where the offense is, or would you like to see a bat or two added?
I would love to see a bat or two added. I don't think that what we have seen from this Mariners offense over the last week or so is who they are now. I think that they are better than what they showed us in May and the start of this month, but by no stretch should we start expecting
11 runs a game?
10 runs a game.
Okay.
Yeah, back-to-back games where, I mean, they've put up 25 runs in their last 2 games. I don't think that's sustainable.
Not with that attitude.
Sure, right, yeah. But, I
hear you. I think you're right.
It's going to be very tough for them to keep it going. So that is why I think you kind of need to round out this roster, especially, in your corner infield, either a third baseman or a first baseman. Would love to get a little more solid at either spot right there. I know Josh Naylor is a name that's been brought up a lot. He was a name that got talked about, too, during the offseason when Cleveland was shopping him. The Diamondbacks, he's dealt with a shoulder injury. Looks like he's back in the lineup today, but that is a name, obviously, that a lot of people here in Seattle have an eye on. Mm-hmm. But I would love to see the Mariners add a bat somewhere in the infield, preferably third base or first base.
Would you say it's priority number one? They're going to need to add to the bullpen as well, but would you say add a bat priority number one?
Yes.
Okay.
Priority number one to me right now is add a bat. Priority number 2, I would say, is get another starting pitcher.
Okay.
So that's my shopping list. Bat first, starting pitcher second.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why a starting pitcher?
I just think
why?
Because we have seen that injuries can pop up at any time,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know what, George Kirby had that great one start in Anaheim and got roughed up a bit his last start in Chicago. We don't know what Logan Gilbert's long-term health is going to look like this season. We don't know if Bryce Miller is going to be back. Emerson Hancock has looked great at times, but also has gotten shelled a few times this season too. So there's a lot of volatility right now with the starting rotation. When everybody's on, when everybody's pitching great, it's the best thing ever. But it has only been like that for maybe like a week this season.
The Mariners need to go shopping. Let's talk about what stores will actually be open. Bob Nightingale says he'd root against the Diamondbacks hard if he were a Mariners fan.
If I'm a Mariners fans, I root hard every night against Arizona Diamondbacks because then you got 2 guys. Eugenio Suarez, who obviously is a former Mariner, to go back up there. He's having a career season right now. Or Bo Naylor, the first baseman. But they have some great shifts, especially the power bats. So those 2 guys stand out for as far as the Mariners' needs.
On the one hand, the Diamondbacks are in a division where they're just not going to win the division. You've got the Dodgers. They're only getting better, bringing back Ohtani. They've got a hold on that. The Padres, the Giants obviously just added Devers, who just had his first home run with San Francisco against his former team. So you're looking up at a couple teams.
Your best hope of getting to the playoffs is via the wild card, but like you said, the Giants are fighting for a wild card spot. The Padres are. The Diamondbacks 2.5 out of the final wild card in the National League, and then in the NL West, they're 7.5 out behind the Dodgers. So
now
uphill climb.
Here's what's tough about what the Diamondbacks are doing. They just took 2 of 3 from the Rockies.
Okay, Rockies are bad.
Beat the White Sox 10-0 yesterday.
Wait a minute. They played the Rockies and White Sox back-to-back.
That is exactly right. They got 2 more against the White Sox.
Who's their next series after the White Sox?
I'm glad you asked. Well, they have an off day Thursday. No extra innings for them. And then they're taking on the Marlins.
Wait, they play the Rockies, White Sox, and Marlins
so you're rooting
in 3 consecutive series?
You're rooting against the Diamondbacks while they
Some
play
teams get all the luck.
inferior opponents.
They will likely get a few wins here. They should get a few wins.
That's what I'm worried about. Now, keep in mind, their July schedule gets a little tougher. They've got some divisional opponents there. They're still going to face the Angels. That's their last series before the Home Run Derby and the All-Star break. The Tigers are unfortunately the Mariners' last series before the All-Star break. However, the Diamondbacks have back-to-back series, back-to-back-to-back against the Giants, the Royals, which can be feisty, and then the Padres. So maybe they start to slip a little bit in July, but there's a good chance that for Mariners fans who desperately want to add a bat and are looking at the Diamondbacks as potentially the best area from which to draw that offensive help, there's an unfortunate opportunity for them to make themselves hybrid buyer sellers at the deadline as opposed to shipping off some bats.
Yeah, and I mean, they're in that weird spot that the Mariners have been into over the last, half decade or so where you can kind of paint the vision of a buyer, but also it's like they also want to look towards next year too. I just kind of hope the Diamondbacks, outside of this little stretch here, this 10-game stretch that they've got against the 3 worst teams in baseball, that they start that the teams in their own division start eating each other alive, and the Diamondbacks just happen to be one of the casualties of that whole mess that is the National League West right now. Because there's just hardly any teams to pick from in terms of sellers, and the Diamondbacks being a potential one with some pieces that fit your exact needs. And as we know, the Mariners and Diamondbacks do a lot of business together. Yeah. They have made a lot of trades, a lot of connections between both organizations. It just makes a lot of sense as to what both teams are kind of looking for. That's why I kind of feel like that is a more likely trade partner for the Mariners than like any of the other sellers. The White Sox and Mariners haven't done a lot of business in years past, and I know Luis Robert is like the only logical piece that the White Sox have. But
what about the Twins or Orioles?
The Orioles,
they're not touching the play. I mean,
the Mariners made a trade with the Twins just last year with the Jorge Polanco trade. So I mean, there's some recent history there.
3.5 back.
Yeah, I think the Diamondbacks, just based off of how many trades Dipoto and that front office have made together, I feel like those two teams are very much in constant communication. The Rays are another one, but the Rays are actually not bad right now. I believe they're in second place in the National League East. 43 and 35, just 2 back of the Yankees. So, it always feels like, the Mariners and Rays, they've made another trade. They've made, I think, like 19 trades or something since Jerry Dipoto has been in charge here in Seattle. But I don't think Tampa's going to be in any sort of position to sell.
So we're White Sox fans. And then we're Marlins fans.
We're White Sox fans and Marlins fans.
And then we're Giants fans. And then we're Padres fans.
There we go. Being a Giants and Padres fan, a little easier because then you can expect a win or two. But boy, being a White Sox and Marlin fan, no thank you.
Last question from the 425. You talked about an upgrade at third base. How much better is Suarez compared to Williamson, says the 425? I think Williamson's a gold glove material. Is Suarez that much better of a batter? Probably more power, question mark. I mean,
Gino
he's
is
like top 10 in home runs right now.
He's a much better hitter than Ben Williamson is. And as we know, his defense also improved a lot when he was here in Seattle. Suarez has an 892 OPS, 25 home runs. His WAR, his baseball reference WAR is 2.6. Like,
he'd be second on your team in home runs if he were here right now.
Right. Like, this is a bat that you would really like to have in your lineup. And, he's obviously going to have a lot of pull in that Mariners clubhouse. I talked about this. I don't know if it was yesterday or maybe the day before or whatever, but like there is still in the tunnel going from the Mariners clubhouse to the field a sign that says good vibes only. Like he left a lasting impression in that clubhouse, and I can only imagine what his reception would be like to the guys that were here in 22 and in 23. I can only imagine what his reception would be like when he comes back. And by the way, Suarez is also a guy that's in the lineup darn near every day. Yep. Played all 162 games in 2023, played 158 last year. Durability is not something you got to worry about with him.
To open the show, Curtis and I talked about Cal Raleigh's chances at winning AL MVP over Aaron Judge. I know that it feels like slim odds, but still, he's mounting a case. Coming up next, 2 voices in baseball make the case for Cal winning MVP. That's next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Talking about the Mariners plan for the trade deadline.
You think people are reticent to the minor leagues and trade some prospects?
I know fans develop a connection to names they hear over and over. Often you don't see these guys. I don't know how many people are making trips out to Everett or out to Tacoma to watch the young guys, but there just aren't any sure things.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Why is Mazda of Everett the #1 dealer on the West Coast? Mazda of Everett is locally owned and operated for 20 years. They work hard to get you their best deal every time and to make sure you drive away happy. With over 700 new Mazdas, they stock more than anyone in the Seattle area. Find out for yourself why people keep coming back to Mazda of Everett. MazdaofEverett.com. Claims based on Mazda USA inventory and sales reports.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
The peace lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places that I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty here. It's time to turn things up a notch. This summer, don't binge watch shows, binge s'mores by the campfire. Press pause on the podcast and press play on Warm Weather Vibes. Here's your chance to win $10,000 for your ultimate summer. What are you waiting for? Take a shot with 5-Hour Energy and make this summer your best summer ever. Visit 5HEshot.com for full details and rules to enter today. No purchase necessary. Ends June 30th, 2025.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed a musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Breaking news for the people of Boomtown. With Xfinity Mobile, the Wi-Fi is booming, at home and on the go.
And an upgrade storm's on the way.
That's right. And with Xfinity Mobile Premium Unlimited, you can upgrade your phone when you want, up to 2 times a year.
Now, once customers catch wind of the guaranteed new device discount, it'll be the biggest upgrade storm in history.
Wow. Let's hear from our weatherman on the scene.
How's it looking out there, Rick?
Well, Bill, the Wi-Fi is still booming!
Now through September 30th, existing Xfinity Internet customers can get an unlimited line included for a year. Plus, ask how to get a free 5G phone. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Unlimited line offer requires Xfinity 300 megabit internet or above. Taxes, fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Reduced speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds vary.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, Viagra is not the answer for your problem. I know you think it is, but Viagra has horrible side effects, and for most men, the longer you're on it, the less it works. Viagra is not a curative medication. It's not fixing your problem. It's a Band-Aid for a shark bite. Acoustic wave therapy is the newest technology that can correct your problem, not just treat it. We can do something that no pill can do. We can restore your blood flow naturally. Get off Viagra today. Change your life like the thousands of men who already have, regardless of your age or your medical history. If you're tired of dealing with Peyronie's disease or erectile dysfunction, then call West Coast Men's Health today.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I can't get enough of this Cal conversation. It's just really fun. I don't know how long it'll last. I'm not saying that Cal's going to drop off, but to have like every baseball podcast that I listen to is talking about the Mariners, and one Mariner in particular is just new.
Right. It's been a long time
new
since
territory.
It's been a long time since we've had a Mariner
just
get
dominate
discussed.
headlines.
Yeah. I mean, Julio kind of in his rookie season, not to this extent though.
Yeah.
Especially where, like, I mean, last night I was watching SportsCenter and they had Mariners highlights, Mariners Twins highlights.
Yeah.
Because Cal Raleigh with 32 home runs, like that's. Home runs are how you bring in the viewers. Like that's how you get attention.
We began the show, Curtis and I, by talking about whether or not Cal is mounting an even stronger case against Aaron Judge for AL MVP. Our answer was yes, and there's a lot of stuff to look at. Curtis made a point about the difficulties of the catcher position. However, Judge is still the heavy favorite there, and it's for good reason. That being said, two baseball voices here continue to make that case. First, Jake Mintz from Baseball Barbie Cast, co-host with Jordan Schusterman, who joins us Wednesdays, has his reasons why Cal has a better shot at dethroning Judge than Bobby Witt did last year.
I think Cal Raleigh has a better chance to top Aaron Judge than Bobby Witt Jr. did last year, and I think there are two reasons for this. One, you see him on every play. Cal Raleigh, when you watch a Mariners game, he's on TV. He's on TV all the time. And I don't think that is insignificant. The second reason, home runs. He hits a lot of home runs. And when you look and you compare Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. last year, it was like, oh, well, Bobby Witt Jr. has a higher batting average than Aaron Judge. And that's what he does. Like, Bobby Witt Jr. is a batting average guy and Judge is the homer guy. And, like, Judge should win. If Cal Raleigh has more homers than Judge at the end of the year, I think he has a legitimate chance to win the MVP.
Now, Curtis, for you, there has to be a notable difference.
A bit of a difference.
Not just like 54 home runs to 53 home runs or, 55 to 54. It's got to be like maybe 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, pretty significant.
Which is fair. I think that's fair because I think that if Aaron Judge has maybe 2 fewer home runs, but just blows everyone else out of the water, including Cal and other major statistical categories, yes, of course he's going to be AL MVP. However, if Cal Raleigh breaks Aaron Judge's home run record, how would you not give him MVP?
It would be so hard to not cast a vote.
How could you
for
not?
Cal
It's the
Raleigh
most
in that
valuable,
instance.
at the end of the day, the most valuable thing in baseball, A, having fun, and B, runs.
Sportsmanship.
It's runs. The most
it's
valuable
scoring
thing
runs.
in baseball.
Right. And Cal Raleigh would be one of the game's best run producers and also one of the game's best run stoppers when it comes to defensive play, when it comes to managing a pitching staff. That's also where Cal's value is. And I think Jake Mintz makes a really good point. Like, we see Cal Raleigh darn near every pitch of every game. At least when the Mariners are in the field, you see Cal Raleigh and what he can do. And then when he is hitting, he is the one guy in the stadium that everybody sits up for right now. So he's got both those things working for him right now. And as for Aaron Judge, like, he's not involved in every play. He's involved in, maybe his 4 to 5 at-bats a game, and then, probably a handful of fly balls hit out to center field.
I liked Jake's point, and I hadn't thought about it, about Cal being in your face for every play, that if you're a viewer watching the game, you're staring at Cal. Like when he's not at the plate, when, the Mariners ace is on the mound, you're watching Cal. Because I think that there are subtle things about baseball that steer our interest and steer narratives about players. The Yankees being everywhere all the time and the cultural impact of the Yankees is part of how we view players there.
Yeah.
It just is. And it's not the primary thing. Mm-hmm. It's not like we think Aaron Judge will be AL MVP because he's a Yankee. Aaron Judge is probably going to be AL MVP because he's doing things we haven't seen since Bonds.
Yeah.
Granted. Someone else is doing it too right now, at least when it comes to first half home runs, and that's Cal Raleigh. Pre-All-Star break home runs, he has smashed records.
Yes.
I mean, he is close to breaking Bond's record there.
Yeah,
and
40 home runs before the All-Star break is not out of the question.
No, how many more games? 15, 16?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. I think there's, 3 weeks between now and yesterday for the All-Star game. Like, it's going to be quite a bit of time before the All-Star break gets here. So Cal Raleigh's got plenty of opportunities to continue adding to that home run total.
All right, let's get to another bit of sound here. This is Mark DeRosa making the case for Cal as MVP.
This is a season,
But this average isn't on here.
What's that?
Average.
I got batting average isn't on here, but at least we have to entertain the thought of somebody
other than Judge
in the AL MVP conversation when the dust settles. What if he hits 60 or hits 50 homers and they get hot and win the AL West?
I'm not mad at the thought process. Plus, this dude's squatting behind the dish every single day.
We played a long time. To watch those guys grind, to think you have to go in and do all the pre-work for your pitcher, then have that meeting, then go in and do all your offensive stuff. You're pulling double duty there.
And
so it's just crazy.
So he's got double the work at home plate. He's grinding.
I mean, it's Judge's to lose. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to give love. I mean, he's having a historic season from the catching position. I wanted to honor.
Maybe this is a hot take, but I'm just going to say it. If you don't at least entertain the idea that Cal's making a case, you just don't love baseball. Like in a weird. This is a fun conversation to have. If the season ended right now, it's Aaron Judge's MVP award. It just is. And it's more than just average that Judge has over Cal. That being said, you have to appreciate the historic significance of what we're seeing with Cal. And just as a baseball fan, think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny because we hear all the time about how East Coast sports fans and East Coast media types, they don't like to stay up past, 10 p.m. when Mariner games get going.
Yeah, God forbid.
But it's like your job is to cover the league, and half the league starts after 10 p.m. East Coast time. Like, oh no, you're going to have to stay up late, but Cal Raleigh making it more than worthwhile for everybody because, like, what he is doing is just so incredible. I don't want to hear from any East Coast types be like, oh, it's too bad this is happening on the West Coast. No, it's too bad that you just aren't putting in the effort to do your job.
All right, we're going to stick with baseball, kind of a baseball-heavy show, but we've got 4 Down Territory coming up at 11:15. Some weird stuff going on with the NFL Players Association. Again, get into it at 4 Down Territory. NFL headlines later in the show as well. The latest from Jeff Passan next.
If you haven't subscribed to Seattle Sports on YouTube,
it's amazing. You just got to keep hammering it home.
You're missing part of the game.
The rest is history.
There's so much more than what happens on the field.
This is the place I love.
Subscribe now for in-depth inside information with Brock and Salk.
The Mariners' hit rate was way higher than that.
Bump and Stacy.
Cal's like a coach out there.
Wyman and Bob.
One day, breaking that record would be pretty cool.
Stream it live with the local sports leader on YouTube, Seattle Sports.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song.
I love these nachos.
I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy.
What's your name?
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with zero investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Tonight, the Storm are taking on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever with just announced Western Conference Player of the Week, Nneka Ogwumike. The Storm are 3-0 this week. Ogwumike averaged a league-high 25.7 points along with 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2.3 steals while shooting 71.4% from the field.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Jeff Passan was on with Brock and Salk this morning, and we're going to start with that MVP conversation because Jeff is not ready to say Cal can challenge Judge for MVP. How dare you, Jeff? Take a listen.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not there yet, and that says something.
That's all I'm playing from Jeff today. I'm just kidding.
Mike, considering just how great Cal Raleigh has been. I just, if we're going to do this, baseball makes it very easy. And I understand it's not all about numbers specifically, but Aaron Judge is hitting almost 100 points higher. Aaron Judge is getting on base 80 points higher, and Aaron Judge has 70-point lead in slugging percentage. Like, just across the board, the numbers are significantly better.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
When you're talking baseball stats.
Yeah, what about vibes?
Sure, but what about vibes? What about heart? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about belief? What about soul?
Right.
What about just
the non-measurables?
The immeasurables.
The immeasurables.
And when it comes to the immeasurables, I think Cal's got them.
I think so too.
Yeah. Was Aaron Judge crafted in a lab to be a baseball god?
Probably.
Or an NFL tight end? Yeah, fine.
Who would you rather sit down at a bar with and just eat peanuts, drink a beer with?
Yeah, who would be most likely to just order some wings for the table?
Cal Raleigh would be that guy.
Calendar Raleigh. Calcium Raleigh.
Aaron Judge, to me, just seems too... He's been Yankeefied too much. He's like Derek Jeter, where it's like he's a robot. Like, he only exists to play baseball, and it's like, meh.
Yeah, like I've heard good things, but I don't want to believe them.
Right. Whereas Cal Raleigh just seems like a dude. He seems like a guy that you could talk literally anything with.
And let's be real. There is a little bit of there is bias here, being Seattle natives. We kind of grew up hating the Yankees. It is what it is. Another part of it, though, is Cal's not going to have this season again. Now, Cal has hit 30 bombs. This is his third consecutive year of 30 home runs. So for anyone out there going, where did this come from? You just weren't really paying attention to what catchers were doing, because while he wasn't leading the league in home runs, Cal has been leading every catcher in the league in home runs for 2 years heading into this season. So that's on God.
Won't he do it?
But the second thing is Cal's got this underdog vibe, and I think a lot of people around baseball like a surprise story, and Cal is that this year.
He is. And, yeah, I was watching the other day the 30 for 30 on the 98 home run chase, where Sammy Sosa had been this, like, he had been a good player before 1998, and obviously we now know that it was steroid enhanced. Like, pretty safe to say, even though I don't think he's ever, like, truly admitted it. He's like admitted to, like, oh, in the past I made some choices I wish I could take back.
Right.
It's like, oh, so you're talking about steroids? No, I never said that.
So HGH or like what are we?
the way that he went in 1998 was just so unlike anything he'd ever done in his career, and had been this like really gregarious dude, and the media had been like, just everybody was like rooting for him and stuff. Not to say that that's like what kind of year Cal Raleigh is going to have this season, but like it does kind of remind me of like he's been good, but this is just him going to a completely different level right now, and he's kind of grabbing the attention of a lot of people. I think one big thing that could really help him in terms of like growing that national brand, and I know a lot of people have expressed a lot of hesitancy to it, but it's the home run derby. It is being out there all alone with the clock at 2 minutes, I think that's how long the rounds are, plus however many, bonus points you get. That is a stage where guys can go from star to superstar. Guys can leave a lasting impression on Major League Baseball viewers, because I got to be honest, I'm really excited to watch potentially Paul Skeens in the All-Star game, because we don't get to watch him every time. I'm excited to watch a lot of these guys that you don't get to see every single day.
And
because
he's going to be surrounded by talent for the first time.
Exactly. Weird how that happens. But and so this is going to be an opportunity for fans who don't get to watch Mariners games week in and week out, day in and day out, get a glimpse of what kind of sheer talent Cal Raleigh has.
It's a phenomenal point, because it also highlights one of the big issues the Mariners have with free agency, with relevancy, and you can't really be mad at anyone but yourself. When you make the playoffs once in 22, 23 years, there's going to be a chunk of baseball fans, a generation of baseball fans that have been born, grown up, went to college, graduated, gotten jobs, that have never really cared about your team.
Yeah.
That's just something you've done to yourself. So having Julio in a home run derby a couple years ago, just take the world by storm. His first home run derby, take the world by storm. He didn't even win. I think Juan Soto did. And then having Cal this year, you're right. It brings a kind of attention that the Mariners have lost for themselves through their own doing.
Right. And it's something that baseball does better than any other sport, is their All-Star Week, is the home run derby and then the game itself. And I think Cal recognizes that, I'm not going to get many other opportunities to do the home run derby, because, look, he's been a good home run hitter in his career, but I don't think has ever been invited to it.
He's not going to have this season again. It's okay to say it.
And so I think he's looking at
will.
Right. He's looking at this as man, this is my one opportunity to be in one of the great events on the baseball calendar. And it's not they're inviting 40 guys to hit into this. They only invite about 10 or so. So I think that's going to be a great opportunity for Cal to open more people's eyes to just what he is doing.
TJ in the 425. Stacy, Curtis, can y'all please start a new business? Stacy and Curtis get Cal chosen as league MVP better than Jeff Passan and Haters LLC.
That's right.
I love that our business ventures are being recognized by listeners.
Yes. And
we have many.
I like that they are as long and mouthy as all of ours.
LLC.
Yeah, you got to end it with LLC.
Okay, I've got more from Jeff Passan. We're going to talk a little bit about the Cal MVP stuff. And then I might just end up staying with that. We have 7 minutes left here. Okay. He talks about Cal's offensive numbers and why they need to be a little closer.
Again, I am not taking a single thing away from Cal Raleigh. I acknowledge his superior defense. I acknowledge how difficult it is to play catcher every day, and to do so at the volume he's doing it is absolutely absurd. And all those things warrant consideration in this case. But to me, the numbers offensively just need to be a little bit closer than they are in terms of the metrics as opposed to the counting stats, because he's ahead of him in home runs. He's ahead of him in RBIs. He's ahead of him in the team-dependent stuff. But at the end of the day, that triple slash line is where I begin. And when the difference is as significant as it is, it's just going to be difficult for me, despite all of those secondary things that Cal Raleigh has going for him, to put him above Judge because of the difference in offense.
2 more cuts on Cal. What home run number he's actually looking for. Curtis, you mentioned that yours is more of a home run gap, that for Cal to be able to win, it would have to be 10 more than Aaron Judge. Here's Jeff.
Right now, I look at 49 because the most home runs ever hit by a catcher in a season is 48. I'm not going to sit here and think that Cal Raleigh is going to hit 60 home runs.
Okay.
That is, it's a ridiculous number. I think he can. I think it is well within the realm of possibility. But to me, that first number that really stands out.
I'm going to ask you a question you asked me earlier.
Okay.
Would you be disappointed if Cal ended up with less than 50 home runs? He's on pace for 66.
I know. I did spring this question on you in our show prep today, because if he does finish with less than 50 home runs, that means he's hitting home runs at about half the clip that he's hitting at now in the season's second half, which is still an impressive number. If Cal Raleigh only had 17 home runs at the break, he's probably still an American League All-Star.
Yeah.
but is that disappointing?
Yes, the answer is
considering
yes.
the start to the season that he's had. Yeah, if he finishes with less than 50, I'm going to be like, dang it, man.
Which is so funny, because if you were to tell me at the beginning of the season, Cal's going to hit 49 home runs, I'd be like,
what?
Is he getting tested?
Yeah, like how he's only played in 130 games?
And now I'm like,
if you finish with less than 50,
how dare
man,
you?
Like, what a bum.
Well, but also because it's so fun to watch, and it's so cool. Like, there's so many factors that are going into this. You wonder how much of it is being a catcher and maybe pitch recognition that looks a little bit different, but then why don't other catchers do that? Is it just the wear and tear on their bodies?
Yeah.
Is it because they have to prioritize a good glove and a good catcher, and then you can be a good hitter? That's a whole other conversation that I'd love to hear from catchers about. Then you've got the factor of hitting from the right side and how he continued to develop there and what went into that prep this offseason. Is it Edgar? Is it Kevin Seitzer? Did he put in his own work? Like, I have a million questions when it comes to the improvement that has gone on that we haven't seen.
Yeah, and I do kind of wonder, like, is it Kevin Seitzer and just an Edgar being able to be like, all right, what you're doing is great, but like what we can do for you will take you to a level that maybe even Cal didn't know that he had. Like, I don't know if Cal ever thought that he could become this kind of hitter.
You got to believe in yourself.
That's right. Exactly. That's where it starts.
It's on the
starts
inside.
with you. Yeah.
I have one more Cal cut. I just thought you would like this one. Jeff asked if East Coast bias doesn't apply to Cal.
And if you want to suggest that what Cal Raleigh's done over the last month and a half is something that can be projected forward and that he continues to do that, then yeah, we have a real conversation on our hands at that point. Because I do think if that OPS gap continues to tighten, then Cal Raleigh's got a really excellent case. And frankly, despite what everybody thinks about East Coast bias, about New York media, about all the rigmarole there, people love Cal Raleigh, man.
Now, Curtis, I know you're no
rigmarole. This is a very real thing we are fighting against, Jeffrey. Rigmarole. Oh. Miss me with that.
We haven't done an East Coast bias bit in a while, so if anyone forgot, Curtis, I would say you lean into the bit of anytime
it's
something
not a bit, Stacy. It's all very real. What we do is 100% honest here.
But also, I think it's real. I think a little bit of it is real. Like,
I
it
think
does
it
get you
started
fired
off
up.
as a bit, and then it got me real fired up.
Because here's the thing. What Jeff says about if Cal's OPS was higher, if you start getting some of these other stats, basic stats, but some of these other stats that are a little
qualifiers. Oh, if his OPS was higher, just say it, Jeff. You wish his game started in the Eastern time zone. Sleepy Jeff Passan.
Sleepy Jeff. Oh, you wish he was wearing pinstripes.
Yeah.
That's what you wish.
Pinstripes are slimming, and that would take away from Cal Raleigh's best physical feature. Exactly.
I want to talk about the trade deadline. I have one non-Cal cut here. Jeff Passan on surprise names that could be dealt at the deadline.
I don't know that there's a surprise move at this point, but I also didn't know Rafael Devers was getting traded, right? So there could be somebody over the next few weeks to emerge. It's interesting now that Corbin Carroll is hurt. You wonder what that does to the Diamondbacks, right? If the Diamondbacks do not have their best player in the lineup for an extended period of time, that's only going to add, I think, to the impetus for them to go out and try and overhaul their farm system through trades, because they've got a number of desirable players who are reaching free agency. Eugenio Suarez, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Josh Naylor would be a perfect fit for the Mariners.
Every baseball conversation, Curtis, that we have today has led us back to the Diamondbacks and Cal Raleigh.
Yeah. All the roads less traveled.
To be fair, two very important topics. One being the hottest hitter in baseball right now and the Mariners' best story, and the other being the Mariners' best potential trade partner if only they could find a way to lose to the White Sox and the Marlins.
Get it done, White Sox and Marlins, please. I do think it's interesting he brings up Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, too, because, I mean, Zach Gallen just a couple of years ago was starting the All-Star game for the National League. I believe it was in 2023, yeah. And then last year had a really good start to the season. This year, I mean, he's been dealing with a ton of command issues. 41 walks, where his career high in walks is 54. So you kind of wonder if maybe Gallen is starting to see his production slip. Merrill Kelly has been pretty good to start this season. He's always been kind of their number 2 guy in Arizona behind Zach Gallen. They did sign Corbin Burns to that big contract, but he got shelved with Tommy John surgery. So I do kind of wonder if maybe either one of those names are somebody the Mariners look at. I think Merrill Kelly kind of fits the profile a little bit more in terms of he's really cut down on the walks.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly had struggled with walks a lot earlier in his career. This year with just 25 and 16 starts. So as we know, the Mariners do not like their pitchers, being inefficient with the walks. So maybe that's somebody the Mariners look at too, as he is approaching free agency.
All right, let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
All right, first down, Stacy. There's some messiness going on right now with the NFL Players Union. You want to catch us up to speed on it?
Okay, so I'm probably going to spend the most amount of time on this one. Here's what's happening. On the latest edition of the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast, which is a wonderful podcast, and he's doing a lot of like silly work and really funny work, but also really important work. He's just an investigator, man. He uncovers things, and what he uncovered, along with Mike Florio, is that the NFL has actually encouraged teams to collude against fully guaranteed contracts. Like, that's real. So in the latest episode, they found out that an organization called the Management Council, with the blessing of the commissioner, this is from Mike Florio, encouraged all 32 clubs to reduce guarantees in veteran contracts at the annual owners meeting. At the annual owners meeting is when they agreed on this. This was not long after the Browns gave Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed 5-year deal. So there's the juicy part of this story and then the important part of this story. This is the important part. The important part is that by all outward appearances, the NFL did actively, and maybe is actively, working against making sure that players get fully guaranteed contracts, most especially when it comes to franchise quarterbacks. That's a big story.
Yeah.
The juicy part of the story, the one that's getting a little more attention because of the names involved, including one former Seahawk, is that the NFLPA leading representative, J.C. Tretter, in a series of text messages, really took issue with one Russell Wilson, who, when negotiating his contract with the Denver Broncos shortly after being traded to the Broncos, did not actually get a fully guaranteed deal. J.C. Tretter believed that if Russell Wilson were to get a fully guaranteed deal from the Denver Broncos, it would completely reframe, reset, set a new precedent for guaranteed contracts in the league. Russell Wilson didn't get that. And so in JC's mind, he was a wuss. He used some other language, but like a wuss, and didn't push for the right thing. So when people are talking about JC Tretter and Russell Wilson today, apparently, or not apparently, that's part of where that's stemming from. But Pablo Torre points out that this was actually good news for the league, because what JC Tretter unintentionally did in these text messages is make it clear that the onus to get that guaranteed contract fell on a player and was not the league barring him from getting it. So kind of an unintentional self-own by J.C. Tretter. Like, when you're mad at another player, you're making it seem as though, from the point of view of the main person in charge of the NFLPA, that it's the player's fault, not the league. So if you're trying to argue in court that the league is restricting these contracts, and then in text messages you're making it seem like it's on the player, it's a little backwards. I hope that made sense. We'll talk about it in the headlines, and a little bit more in our next down.
Second down. So you bring up J.C. Tretter and his beef with Russell Wilson. Does he have a point?
He does a little bit. Russell Wilson getting a fully guaranteed contract after Deshaun Watson got a fully guaranteed contract would be two prime examples for other quarterbacks, particularly quarterbacks who had better track records like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, to get fully guaranteed deals. Like, if I'm Josh Allen and I'm league MVP or playing like one, and I'm going to negotiate my next contract, and I see that Russell Wilson flamed out in Denver and Deshaun Watson isn't even starting, but they're getting fully guaranteed contracts, I'm going, that's the bar. You're telling me you're not going to give me a guaranteed contract when those two got them? However, a counterpoint to JC Treader is, well, in another world, what damage would it have done to the argument about fully guaranteed contracts if the two players to get them completely failed, right? Like, in a way, that's exactly what the league is afraid of. The league doesn't want to give fully guaranteed contracts because they're afraid of owing players money when they're no longer useful to them. It's exactly their point, right? It would be like extending a running back after having a whole conversation about how running backs get hurt, and then that running back gets hurt, and all of a sudden you're going, yeah, this is exactly what we worried. It kind of makes the case for the league. So I don't know. He does have a point. Ultimately, I think it would have changed negotiations for a lot of quarterbacks especially, but man, were they the two worst examples to give those deals to.
Third down. Okay, so Stacy, Aaron Rodgers earlier today said this is probably it for him in terms of his playing career here in 2025. So, with this likely being his last season, how will you most remember him?
Now, for all the controversy that Aaron has found himself in, and all the jokes that I have made at his expense, admittedly, I have to even admit myself that the thing I will most remember Aaron Rodgers for is the deep pass, is the Hail Mary, most especially this one.
Rodgers in trouble. It's going to get there. He turned 32 yesterday. Does he have a vintage moment in him? In the end zone, it is caught for the win. Richard Rodgers with a walk-off touchdown. A game ender for the Packers.
No time on the clock, down 23-21, a 61-yard Hail Mary, zeros, a 61-yard Hail Mary to tight end Richard Rodgers in a divisional game against the Lions. Like, I remember watching that play in my living room. And before I knew that Aaron Rodgers was pretty pretentious, I mean, you could assume, before we had all the interviews with, you know, Pat McAfee or whatever, when people were rolling their eyes, before storylines were dragging on in the offseason and he was taking shots at other players, I used to love watching Aaron Rodgers. He was one of my favorite players to watch, and I can't help it. That's the moment I always think of. These are formative years. 2015, I was in my 20s. I mean, I was just blown away by that kind of play.
Fourth down. Stacy, tell us what we need to know about the Cleveland Browns.
So glad you asked.
Okay.
So the Browns are not expected to be a great team, so you could be forgiven for not paying attention to any kind of quarterback battle happening in Cleveland. Better believe there is one in a very crowded room. I have entered the offseason assuming that Joe Flacco, the veteran in that room, will win the job over rookies Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders and over backup Kenny Pickett. It's just kind of what I'm assuming. However, in a new interview on NFL Network, Deontay Johnson says he expects that Kenny Pickett is going to be the starter, or at least that it's Kenny's job to lose. Just not what I was expecting. A bit of a surprise to come out of Browns camp.
Small hands, Kenny.
Yeah, and I know no one really cares about the Browns, so I kind of saved it for the fourth down where we're spending the least amount of time on it. But I've quietly got my eye on that quarterback room because it's fascinating. It's very crowded, and you have no way to know who's going to win the job.
If they go with Kenny Pickett, I mean, there's just not a lot that he can offer in terms of, like, hope for that franchise.
Yeah.
Like, they're clearly playing for, like, Arch Manning next year. Like, that's what the whole
continue
plan
to
is.
add to the room.
Yeah.
You've
got Dylan Gabriel, who you spent, a third-round pick on?
Can you imagine rostering all of them?
Oh, man. Dylan Gabriel, Arch Manning, Shedeur Sanders, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson. It's insane.
You're listening to Bump and Stacy. Don't go anywhere.
The most first-half home runs for a catcher in baseball history.
Congratulations, Cal Raleigh.
Big dumper.
American League Player of the Week. A .417 average.
OPS over 1,600. 5 homers, 12 ribbies.
And one hell of a model American.
Now you have the question of whether or not he's the front runner as AL MVP.
Where you follow along the Big Dumpers, Big Run, Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with xFi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck. And she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes. But when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and we've been talking about this. Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. You can book now for an unforgettable summer experience because the hotel opens up August 8th. Bookings are open at snocasino.com starting on August 8th. The expanded non-gaming floor, the destination spa, the big new entertainment space and convention center, new restaurants as well. They're combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. Go to snocasino.com for details. Seattle's closest, now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
The Mariners are giving you more baseball for your buck. With Mariners Value Games, score seats for as little as $11 on select dates all season long. Plus, check out the expanded Mariners Value menu and beers available every game. Enjoy ballpark classics like hot dogs and nachos for less than $5 and a great selection of brews starting at just $5. Go to mariners.com/value to grab your tickets and check out the full slate of value options at T-Mobile Park.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're here 24/7, 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
In addition to saying 2025 is likely his last season, Aaron Rodgers, in our first story for The Timeline, also told Pat McAfee he doesn't want to be in the public eye anymore. After his career is over, Curtis, he's done.
I wanted to be all in, and I had so many other things going on in my life that were taking my mind and my energy elsewhere. And that's why I appreciated how Mike was the entire time. Just being able to have those conversations, honest conversations every single week was really meaningful to me. I didn't need this, I didn't need it at all. I don't feel the need to prove anything to anybody or don't have any chip on my shoulder that I need to hold on to. I don't want the attention. I know that's a narrative out there. When this is all done, you won't, it's Kaiser Sosa. You won't see me. I don't want to live a public life. That's why it's so strange what's going on right now with my private life, because I don't want to live a life in the public eye. I'm not going to be in the public eye. When this is done, I'm done, and you won't see me. And I'm looking forward to that. But while I'm in it, and for this year, I'm going to give the Steelers everything that I got and empty the tank and be super comfortable and satisfied with whatever happens.
Now, listen to me. Maybe this ends up happening, and maybe that's genuinely what Aaron Rodgers wants. He announced, for instance, at a press conference, his first with the Steelers, that he had gotten married. He hadn't made that information public. He wasn't out posting about his life. We have no idea who it is. So there is an element of him that genuinely seems to enjoy privacy, and maybe he really will right off into the sunset and fade away and not be part of any kind of sports media coverage about anything. However, that's not how his career has been.
Yeah.
He wants to talk about, it's weird that's the narrative out there because you're very much watering it. Yes. Like, you tease things about your life. You have a weekly hit with one of the most listened to sports shows on the planet. Yeah. Like, of course there's a narrative about you. You feed into it, and that's okay. Look, some of us love attention. And I say us very intentionally. I get it, Aaron. I get it, okay? You didn't get enough of it as a kid. I understand. And it feels really good. I'm the queen of, it's my birthday month. But I don't know that Aaron Rodgers can in any way be upset about the amount of attention that he gets or about the narrative that he likes attention when it's been something he's been upholding for years.
Aaron Rodgers strikes me as that guy that, he will say something that will obviously generate headlines and be like, I don't know why you guys are making such a big deal about this.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, as a kid, you go to the emergency room for your tonsils, but then you post a picture of your emergency room bracelet and you're like, pray for me.
Yeah, it's
no context.
Made it to see another day.
Yeah. Oh my God, what happened? Don't want to talk about it.
I had a cough and a fever. Gosh. No, it is going to be impossible for him to just fade away from the public eye just because he is such a famous person. He is that level of sports famous where he crosses over into pop culture.
And
there are people who are not sports fans that know who Aaron Rodgers is just because his face is everywhere. He's on a bunch of commercials. He is, obviously very outspoken, has a Netflix special. He's too famous to be completely off the grid.
Mm-hmm. And again, that's fine. You can choose to ignore Aaron Rodgers' content. He's not making you listen, so you can't be mad at him. I do make fun of him quite a bit,
Right.
but it's because he is quite
easy
pretentious.
to make fun of. Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to care, right? It's not punching down.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I honestly hope for him that he kind of rides off and does his own thing. He doesn't seem to like the media. He just very much has made himself a story for years.
Yes.
So it's an interesting relationship.
He gives off the guy in everybody's poli-sci class that's like, I just want to play devil's advocate for a second. That's the vibe I get from him.
Yes. Oh, we're moving on. Talk about bulletin board material. Our next story here. Florida State's new quarterback, Thomas Castellanos, is not lacking for confidence ahead of their season opening game against Alabama. Ooh, Paul Feinbaum was fired up to hear about this one. From an interview with On3, this is what Thomas Castellanos said. I'm excited, man. People, I don't know if they know, but you go back and watch every first game I played in, we always start fast. I dreamed of moments like this. I dreamed of playing against Alabama. They don't have Nick Saban to save them.
Dang.
I just don't see them stopping me. And then the ACC, I feel like I tore the ACC up by my dang self for the last 2 years, and now I'm with a squad. I hope people don't think that Florida State's going to be the same team it was last year because we have weapons. People can't just sit back in zone coverage and watch me. Now, Curtis, SEC superfan Paul Feinbaum was not happy.
It's impossible for me to respect Florida State, and this comment just made it even worse. I think Alabama will go in there and obliterate them. Will this be the deciding factor? No, it won't be. I just think Alabama has a really good team, and I don't think Florida State is in any sort of condition, this comment or not, to compete with Alabama. So it is going to be a blowout. It's going to be a wipeout. This comment will be stuffed down his throat like somebody being stuffed in a locker in junior high.
Now, Paul, we don't condone bullying. Who's right?
I hate to say it, but I think Paul Feinbaum is more right on this, but I do admire the confidence from Thomas Castellanos, who was the quarterback at Boston College the last couple of years, transferred to Florida State via the portal, and so now he's taken over. Florida State's coming off a 2-win season last year.
Which is wild considering their previous campaign.
Yeah, they had been undefeated the last season prior to that, but I just think that Alabama has way less question marks right now than Florida State does. I believe it is a neutral site game, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's taking place at like Jerry World or whatever, but I don't see this ending well for him. But hey, in the preseason, in college football, before everything gets going, you can say whatever you want because ultimately you're going to have to decide this on the field. But like everything about college football is perception. Nothing is actually about the wins and losses.
Yeah.
It's all about sort of creating this image of your team and of your game. And
even the way we structure the playoffs.
Yes, and this kind of quote from this quarterback, like I get that he's probably looking at this and saying like, I don't know if we're going to have a great shot, but you know what? I'm going to put this on me. I'm going to make sure that my teammates have zero pressure against them, and this is all on me. So credit to him and credit to him, just classic college football talking points this time of year. I love this.
Next story in the timeline. This one a wild one. Projected NBA lottery pick Noah Nsenge is leaving his German league team in the middle of their championship round with a 2-1 series lead. Why? To attend tomorrow night's NBA draft in Brooklyn.
There are some people that have a big issue with this, and they're like, this is a red flag to any NBA front office. I don't have such a big issue with this because is the German league really this guy's like dream? Is this his dream to win a German league championship, or is his dream to play in the NBA?
Probably the NBA.
Yeah. And how many times do guys get to walk across the podium, hear their name called by the commissioner, get to wear the hat, get to shake hands? It's once in a lifetime.
I hear you. I think two things are true. One is just this story itself is kind of crazy. Like leaving your team, and you're presumably the best player on your team, in the middle of a championship series.
Sure.
Or a championship round
German
series.
League championship series.
They got a 2-1 lead. Maybe they wrap this thing up. Maybe they win.
If he's not there and they lose, it's still a 2-2 series.
Sure. So I totally get it because it goes against our own perception of being a teammate and of sacrifice. And those are important tenets with sports. That being said, so much of what we applaud in sports, we don't actually practice as people. For instance, I can't tell you how many times I see people say, oh, this player should take less money in order to, fill out a Super Bowl team. How many of us would take less money at work?
Right.
If it meant your coworkers got paid more. Like, there's just like human.
Be so for real.
Yeah, be so for real. There's human nature, and then there's an ideal of sportsmanship and behavior.
Yeah.
And sometimes those are two different things. And we love it when someone's like just sacrifices everything and gives his all. And like, we love celebrating that guy. But I think your point's ultimately right. Most people would do exactly what Noah's doing. A young guy would do exactly what he's doing if they were like, hey, so this is the thing that you've dreamed about your whole life. You're going to have to leave your team in the middle of this series that you don't really care about. But over here is something you've been dreaming about since you were a child.
I don't have any issue with this.
Last one, quickly, Shane Gillis has been named, as of this morning, the host of the 2025 ESPYs. I think he's going to do a great job. I think he's going to crush it.
I like when they go with a comedian, especially more so than like when they go with an actor or anything like that. So, and he's a sports fan. Like, he's a legitimate sports fan. He was right alongside Notre Dame as they made their climb through the college football playoffs. So, yeah, I think this is a good pick. Good pick.
Hype Train coming your way next.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10.
Julio's whole deal of being simple is I'm going to swing.
The percentage of pitches that he's swinging at by season. Last year, 54.3. This year, 57.1.
Still puts the bat to the ball, but is that what you want to swing at?
His chase percentage is essentially exactly what it's been. So he's not swinging at a lot more bad pitches. He's just swinging at everything.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Breaking news for the people of Boomtown. With Xfinity Mobile, the Wi-Fi is booming, at home and on the go.
And an upgrade storm's on the way.
That's right. And with Xfinity Mobile Premium Unlimited, you can upgrade your phone when you want, up to 2 times a year.
Now, once customers catch wind of the guaranteed new device discount, it'll be the biggest upgrade storm in history.
Wow. Let's hear from our weatherman on the scene.
How's it looking out there, Rick?
Well, Bill, the Wi-Fi is still booming.
Now through September 30th, existing Xfinity Internet customers can get an unlimited line included for a year. Plus, ask how to get a free 5G phone. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Unlimited line offer requires Xfinity 300 megabit internet or above. Taxes, fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Reduced speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds vary.
Hey, get in.
What?
Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back?
Yeah.
Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Do you know a woman that gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Maura Dooley here. Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 4th Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 11th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Kick off your 4th of July weekend with a Mariners fireworks show at Seattle's summer home, T-Mobile Park. It's a Mariners patriotic party. Thursday, July 3rd, presented by T-Mobile.
Fly ball right field. Sailing back. Gone! Legend, Cal Raleigh.
Catch Cal and the crew take on the Royals at 7:10. Then stick around as the sky explodes with red, white, and boom. Fireworks and Mariners baseball. That's 2 spectacular shows in one unforgettable night.
J.P. Crawford with a walk-off single. Holy smokes, what a finish.
Lock in your seats now at mariners.com/fireworks and check out the full fireworks lineup this summer, including an 80s night on July 18th and Show Tunes theme on August 1st. Plus, don't miss big-time giveaways like patriotic trucker hats on July 4th and J.P. Crawford basketball jerseys on July 5th. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions. 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, coming up from 1 to 2, it's all Mariners, beginning with Mariners insider Shannon Drayer. Rick Rizzs is also joining us at 1:30. We've got Alex Mayer at 1:45. So it's the dugout from 1 to 2, all Mariners. We'll talk a little bit of Mariners, a little bit of baseball before we get to it, but we're going to go pretty football heavy in the noon hour. We've been staying away from it, but Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams is joining us in less than 15 minutes. First, let's head to the station for a hype train. The station. We're straying away. Aaron Rodgers told the Pat McAfee Show this morning that this is probably his final season in the NFL. He can't wait to get away from the spotlight after he retires and let all of us know that
he's going to become a recluse and only do like one hit a month with Pat McAfee.
That he's happy to wrap up his career with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. This is your hype train. Aaron Rodgers will retire after the 2025 season.
I am not boarding this train. I think he's back in 2026. No. I think he is not done. I think this guy wants attention in every way possible and wants to make it as though he doesn't want attention. It's like, guys, stop, but keep going. I think that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers is doing right here. When he says, like, this is probably it leaves the door open for a potential another season, either in Pittsburgh or somewhere else. I think it will become a case of the league just being tired of Aaron Rodgers. That's how he's going to be forced into retirement, the way it was with Brett Favre, where
Just poor play.
Yeah, and Brett Favre, I think he had a concussion at the end of his career that really messed with him.
Just wrecked.
Yeah, so it was just like the league was done with Brett Favre. Then I think the league is going to be done with Aaron Rodgers, but not after next season.
Matt, yes or no? Boarding this train?
I am going to board this train. He's going to retire, but all that stuff about he's going to go up and become a hermit in the mountains, no, he's not.
No.
Introverts know other introverts. Brother's not an introvert.
You are sensing. He's not giving introvert.
He's not giving introvert. He is going to announce a podcast in the fourth quarter of his last game.
Yes.
Like he's going to announce it at the post-game press conference. You will never be rid of him. Or he'll do that thing where like he's gone for 2 years and then makes a big comeback.
It's going to be like a QR code on the big screen being like rate, review, subscribe. Go
He's
ahead and download first episode
somewhere.
drops.
Yeah.
No, I'm with Matt. I do think this is going to be his final season. I wonder if he mentioned it at the start of the season so he could get a little bit of a retirement tour when he goes to all these different locations and have people being like, wow, we really appreciate you. You know what I mean? It's like attending your own funeral. You get to see what everyone thinks about you. I also genuinely think that he has other interests. I do believe that. I believe that he wants to, let's say, start a podcast or travel more or live his life with his new wife. And so I do believe that. And maybe that does include stepping away from the spotlight, but I think it's more that he's got a lot of other things he wants to do.
His new wife that definitely exists.
It's definitely real. She goes to another school.
She is a real person.
She's from Canada.
Yeah, she goes to a different school. You wouldn't know her. What's her name?
I don't know. You wouldn't understand. Yeah. Next up. Cal Raleigh on pace for 66 home runs. Already got 32, and we're not even close to the All-Star break. Still about 20 games to play. Cal Raleigh finishes the season with more than 50 home runs. That would set a new record for catchers.
I am boarding this train. I think he finishes with more than 50. I think he finishes with let's go 58. That's the number he finishes with, which would be...
Wow.
What, another 26 after this? Basically kind of doubling his pace from what he's on right now? Yeah. I say 58 home runs for Cal Raleigh. That's why we're boarding the train.
I don't know that he's hitting 66.
That seems
I don't think you can
so
keep up
far
this
out
pace. Just because it's not that he's not good enough. It's that this pace is just unsustainable.
Yeah.
Matt, Cal Raleigh finishes the season with more than 50 home runs. Curtis is boarding this one.
I am boarding.
He is boarding this one. Are you?
I am also boarding this one.
Okay.
The reason, though, stats, whatever, don't care. He has the best food item in all of T-Mobile Park right now.
Oh.
Those big dumper little dumplings. That is what is causing his good play. Like, look, sure, he's good at baseball. He's got good coaching, the torpedo bat, whatever.
Blah, blah, blah.
No. It's all the dumplings. And it's just going to keep going all season.
Dumplings are delicious.
They're so good.
They really are.
So good.
Okay. Wow. Matt's really sold me. I'm also boarding this one. All aboard this train. I have a hard time seeing him drop off the earth. It's one thing and I remember saying, Cal's not going to hit 60 home runs like a month or two ago. It's one thing
in
when...
that voice, too.
Yeah, I said Cal can't give you 10 home runs a month. Like, I remember saying that because it was just unfair to ask of someone. It was unfair to ask of a player, particularly your everyday catcher. It is almost July.
He has had 10 home runs in every month, I believe.
I fear he is him. Like, we can no longer say, oh, it's just a hot streak. When you are this hot consistently every single month leading up to the All-Star break, you're not going to fall off a cliff. What I think will happen is that the wear and tear that a catcher takes on will probably make him slow down in September. Fine. But he's got a hell of a head start here. Do I think he can notch another 20? Yeah, I do. Next up. Last one. I owe you guys donuts because Cal hit a home run yesterday, and I said, no, that's too much to ask, and he did.
He did.
I'm going to get them tomorrow morning. The donut place I was going to go to was closed today, and I'm not making that up. Maple bars are the best donut.
I'm boarding this train, and what's insane to me is that there are people out there that don't consider maple bars donuts.
I think that's a fake hot take. It's a dumb, contrarian
like
take.
You're trying to be interesting with
it's a donut in a different shape. It's not. It's really. It's
right.
You can come out and be like, muffins or croissants or whatever aren't donuts. Yeah, they're all pastries. A maple bar is just It is a donut in a different shape.
Where do you buy a maple bar from? A donut shop.
It is a donut. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't buy a maple bar at the grocery store outside of like the bakery area, but like you don't buy it off the shelf.
There's not the maple bar store.
Yeah, exactly. There's the donut shop.
Yeah.
And that's where maple bars are sold.
It's a type
That's
of
why
donut.
we're boarding the train. Yeah.
Bear claws.
I bet
Matt,
Matt's one of those people that thinks
are you a contrarian? Maple bars are the best donut. Curtis is boarding.
I'm pre-mad.
I'm already saying that I'm boarding. Maple's one of my favorite flavors.
I want to be a contrarian so bad.
I know you
because
do.
it physically hurts
I know.
to agree with Stacy on a food take. But I got to hand it to her. Maple
I got
bars
this
rock.
one.
Like
Thank you.
she got it right. Folks, she did it.
I did it. I finally did it. The 2025 MLB All-Star Ballot is open. Cal, Julio, JP, and the crew need your help to secure a spot at this year's Midsummer Classic in Atlanta. You can vote up to 5 times per day, every day through this Thursday, June 26th. So get in there and vote. MLB.com/vote. Also, you can now vote directly from the Seattle Sports app. Just click the Vote tab. It's going to be in the lower right corner of the app, and you can vote directly from the app. Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams joins us next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
The one, the only Tim Kirkchin is with us. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm just as confused as you are about the Mariners, if they're going to get really good or not.
Is it hard to understand where their needs truly are as we approach that trade deadline?
This team is due for a great stretch of great starting pitching. If they can score a few runs, maybe they can really make a playoff berth in the American League.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health. It's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same, and that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
Justin Meek. He's the leader and caretaker of the 380 people who consider Lee Johnson their home.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Give me those sauces, grab the chicken strips, let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh. And we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it.
I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick in the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce.
Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners beat the Twins yesterday with home runs from Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Dom Canzone, and Luke Raley at Game 2 today at 4:40 p.m. Pre-game show starts at 3:30 p.m. right here on Seattle Sports. Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers joined the Pat McAfee show this morning and told the host he's, quote, pretty sure this season will be his last in the NFL.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Finally talking Seahawks with Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams. Got a couple headlines around the NFC West, actually. Eric, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you guys doing?
We are good. We've been talking a lot about Cal Raleigh today. You're actually our first time getting to the NFL, really, and talking Seahawks. So we're so excited to have you. We always love having you. I'm going to start with just kind of another check-in on the Seahawks and the rest of the NFC West. We've got OTAs behind us, mandatory minicamp in the rearview mirror. The next thing up, I guess, would be training camp, which is, in about a month from now. Where do you see this league this division stacking up? Kind of who's at the top right now before we dive into the heart of the offseason?
Yeah, well, first of all, as a beat guy covering a team, this is always an opportunity for me to tell players to not do anything stupid during the offseason because I don't want to have to write about you, and I want to enjoy my time off as well. So let your homeboys take the L. If you're going to get in a fight, just make sure you don't do anything stupid from a beat reporter's perspective. In terms of the NFC West, again, I still think it's kind of the Rams' division to lose based on what they did this offseason, the moves they made both in free agency and the draft, getting Devontae Adams, bringing back Matthew Stafford, making sure the offensive line is going to be stout enough to protect Stafford so he can do what he does in terms of the passing game, and then bringing in guys like Poona Ford, defensively so they can improve their running game, which, was awful against the Eagles, both in the regular season and the playoffs. So I think that's kind of the team to beat. And I feel like teams like the Niners and the Seahawks have a puncher's chance to be able to compete with the Rams, depending on if, players like Sam Darnold, obviously for the Seahawks, click. And then for the 49ers, it's really just kind of staying healthy and getting back to they were a couple of years ago.
Eric, one of the big rumors around the NFL right now is where Jalen Ramsey's next home is going to be. And Adam Schefter, I think last week, said he would prefer a West Coast team, specifically the Rams or the Chargers. Let's focus on the Rams here. We all know what he was, his first stint with the Rams, but what do you think Jalen Ramsey in 2025 could add to that LA defense?
Yeah, I mean, he's a different player than he was when he was originally here when they won a Super Bowl. You know, he's not a guy that you can kind of stick out on an island and say, you know, lock up the other team's best receiver, and then we'll take care of the rest of the defense. I think he's more of a situational sub-package type player. I still think he's a really good player, but he's a player that would probably play more downs in their star position on the inside to use his versatility, to use his ability to get to the quarterback as a blitzer. He's still a tone setter defensively with the way that he plays and the kind of attitude that he plays. But he is a bit of a prickly personality, and so you kind of have to weigh that, adding that to your culture and organization versus the kind of player that you're going to get on the field. It's also going to cost you a lot of money. I think he's due to make north of $20 million in terms of his total compensation for the upcoming season. So you have to be able to kind of handle that in terms of your salary cap. When you look at the Rams right now and you look at their secondary, they've kind of been getting by with bargain type, you know, salaries in the back end and really spending their money on the front seven. So I don't know if Les Snead and Sean McVay are going to be willing to pay somebody like, you know, Jalen Ramsey to come in and give you what he's going to give you defensively. Chargers maybe make a little more sense. You know, Derwin James is there. He's really good friends with Jalen Ramsey. They share the same agent. I feel like Jim Harbaugh could handle his personality. And I also feel like they're at the point now in terms of their rebuilding effort where they feel like they're good enough to chase the Chiefs. So that might make sense. Or perhaps the 49ers who have, you know, north of $40 million in terms of salary cap space. They need help in the back end of their secondary. And then you look at bringing back, you know, somebody like Salah, their defense coordinator. I think he has a big enough personality that he could handle somebody like Ramsey. So I think those three teams, if you're looking at the West Coast, would be probably the best fits for Ramsey. Again, if they're interested in taking on his salary in terms of where he is at as a player.
Which NFC West team will be entering training camp with the best defense?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to say Rams, you know, just because of their front four and their ability to get after the passer, you know. They have some question marks in their secondary, and they have some question marks at the second level of their defense. But I feel like Jared Verse is going to be a potential defensive player of the year candidate, building on what he did his rookie season. Kobe Turner is a really good player. Braden Verse is a really good player. Poona Ford's going to add another dimension. Young is also a guy that can get after the quarterback. So I think just based on their front four, I'm going to say the Rams.
Eric, how much do you think Cooper Kupp has left in the tank? I mean, he's obviously been in the division for a long time, and he's, 32 years old this season. You don't see many receivers, once they get past that 30-year-old marker, have a ton of production, but also he's been one of the game's very best, too. So what do you expect from him in this 2025 season?
Cooper can still play. He still has gas left in the tank. He can still get it done in terms of creating separation in the middle of the field. I just think it depends on how you use him as in an offense. And I think the Seahawks are built in terms of the way they're going to run that offense, a run-based approach that's going to use him most effectively. He's obviously not a guy that's going to be running a lot of go routes as an X-receiver, but he's still a guy that can get open in compacted spaces on third down in the red zone. He's an effective run blocker in the running game, so you don't have to take him off the field, so you can play him a lot of snaps. The key for Cooper is staying healthy. You know, is he going to be able to take care of his legs? Are they going to do a great job of kind of, you know, giving him some maintenance during training camp so that he gets to the regular season, you know, as healthy as he can be, and then during the regular season make sure he takes care of his body so he can last, you know, through a full 17-game season. But, you know, personally watching Cooper up close, on a day-by-day basis over the last 5 or 6 years, I still feel like Cooper can get open offensively.
Sticking with the Seahawks for mine as well. Eric, I think the gamble that John Schneider made with swapping quarterbacks this offseason wasn't necessarily just that, Sam Darnold's going to be better than Geno, but that he could create a more complete team, right? That they could take advantage of Sam Darnold and that Sam Darnold could have some room for mistakes because they'd be able to run the ball, because they'd have a better offensive line. What's your confidence level that they actually do?
I think it's high. And I say that because I believe in Kubiak and that system, because I've seen it work up close in a number of different stops. And so I think he has the secret sauce in terms of creating a run game that's effective, that will protect Darnold, and to create, play action shots off of that I think, fits Darnold's skill set. I think Darnold showed during the regular season that he can make plays. I think the question about Darnold is, can he make plays in the moments that matter most at the end of the season and in the playoffs? But I expect him to go and put up, pretty good numbers in that system because of Kubiak and the playmakers that they've surrounded Darnold with. I just think it's, it's going to come down to how he plays in December and January. That will tell us, whether or not it was a good move for the Seahawks, because, Snyder's already said it. They want to get back to being Super Bowl contenders. That's kind of the standard that they set. That's where they want to get back to. And so I think that's how both Darnold and the rest of the organization is going to be judged.
Eric, a few weeks ago, you got to talk with Jalen Milroe at the NFL Rookie Showcase. In your conversation with him, what stood out most to you about the Seahawks rookie quarterback?
The comparison with Brock Purdy and the fact that he's watching a lot of film on Purdy because of, the relationship with Kubiak and running a similar style offense. And that's kind of his doppelganger. That's who he thinks he can become down the road. The fact that he's worked with Jordan Palmer the last couple off season, I think helps in terms of him becoming, a good, professional quarterback in the league. That's obviously who Sam Darnold worked with down in San Clemente. So I think that helps in terms of, the kind of language that both of them are using with Palmer and their ability to communicate in the quarterback room in Seattle. I think the good thing about Milroe, other than obviously his ridiculous athleticism, is he's coming in as the number 3 quarterback. We saw what happened with Anthony Richardson, who has similar athleticism, was drafted number 4 overall, was thrown right in, and obviously wasn't ready to meet the moment, and now he kind of has to take a step back. It's probably going to be Daniel Jones there with the Colts. But with Milroe, he gets to come in as the number 3. There's not that pressure to come in and kind of be the savior of the franchise. He can learn the ropes from Darnold and Drew Lock, and then in a year or two, see how far along he's progressed to the point where he can maybe compete for a starting job. So I think it's a great situation for him. I think he has the right mindset and the discipline when you consider, both his parents are in the military, the way that he was, brought up. And I think, in terms of the franchise in Seattle, I think it's a great place for him in terms of landing spot. The other thing I think is interesting is he did have a pre-draft visit with the Rams before he went to Seattle. So the fact that, Les Snead and McVay were able to kind of pick his brain a little bit with maybe having an inkling of understanding that he might land in Seattle. I think, those rivalries are always interesting in terms of the pre-draft process.
Sticking with the topic of quarterbacks, let's head to Arizona. We don't talk a lot about the Cardinals during these conversations, but Curtis and I yesterday were talking about just how wild it is. Kyler Murray as a former number 1 pick. There's so much you've seen that you like and that's kept that team hanging on to him and obviously paying him, and yet he has yet to quite live up to exactly what they need. What do you think he needs to not just do this year, but do you think that there's a step forward for him to take, or have we seen the best of Kyler already?
There's definitely a step forward to take, another year in that offense and kind of getting comfortable with what they're asking to do in terms of the OC, Drew Petzing. I think the key with Kyler is Marvin Harrison really needs to emerge as a true number 1 in that system for them to kind of take the next step in terms of being an explosive offense. I think we saw glimpses of it with Harrison, but we also saw awkwardness in terms of their ability to connect and gotta have it moments. And so that's what needs to change. They talked about building better chemistry, with the reps, both in practice and away from the facility. Harrison put on about 10 to 15 more pounds. If you look at him, he wouldn't say where his weight's at. And he's hoping that will help him in terms of contested catches. But really, they need to figure out how best to use Harrison. He was really effective on in-breaking routes. So I would suspect that they're going to use him more in that capacity and not on go routes and comebacks where he struggled. And then the other thing I think they need to do is they need to use him in the slot more so they could get him easier touches where he can get the football quickly and make something happen after the catch. Obviously, they're a run-based offense like Seattle, so James Conner staying healthy is going to be important as well, and maybe Trey Benson coming on as a 1-2 punch in terms of the running game. But really, I think it's about scoring touchdowns on a more consistent basis, and I think that starts with Harrison being more effective in the second year.
He is Fox Sports NFC West reporter Eric Williams, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Eric, you're the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
See ya. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it. Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever make their first trip to Seattle this season to face the Storm tonight at Climate Pledge Arena. Tip-off is at 7. What's the real headline?
Don't call out sick tomorrow because the Storm are going to beat this Fever.
That's right.
Yeah. I was proud of it.
Wear an ice pack. Take your Tylenol.
You sweat it out. You drink lots of water.
Drink some orange juice. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one. Indiana, they're a team. They're obviously the most followed team in the WNBA, coming off of that brouhaha against Connecticut last week, where you had Sophie Cunningham taking down whoever it was that
and then
took down
posted
Caitlin
in a
Clark.
Promotional tweet.
Yeah,
for her team.
I don't think it's going to get to that level tonight, but I wonder just kind of how teams are going to still guard Caitlin Clark in year 2.
Yes.
But Seattle's been playing really good ball as of late. Neko Igumuke, reigning WNBA Player of the Week. That was announced today.
I was just going to mention that. Named the Western Conference Player of the Week for games played Monday, June 16th to Sunday. She's averaging a league high 25.7 points, obviously.
Love to see that.
Not steals, not rebounds.
And you love to see the Storm still being very competitive, just less than a year after trading Jewel Lloyd. So, it should be a fun one tonight over at Climate Pledge.
What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Aaron Rodgers told Pat McAfee today this is likely his last year playing in the NFL. What's the real headline?
I think Aaron Rodgers just saved us another offseason of speculation. Curtis disagrees.
I don't
That's my
think
headline,
so.
though. He just saved us months of wondering what he's going to do.
Ideally, yeah. Like, we can just kind of put that to bed. Yeah, he would have.
Dang it.
He would have had a good answer for that. But I don't think this is the last we have heard of the will they, won't they, Aaron Rodgers.
Why don't you?
I think he craves the spotlight that much. And I think he also is one of those athletes that's going to have a really hard time kind of understanding, like, oh, I don't have the same physical capabilities that I had just, a couple of years ago. I mean, he was NFL MVP in 2020, 2021?
Yeah, Jackson was one of those. Jackson was 19, but Rodgers 20.
It's been a long time since then.
Or Mahomes 20.
And if you
Rodgers
recall,
21.
his last year in Green Bay was not that good.
Yeah.
Like he did not throw for over 4,000 yards.
That's one of the most quiet things about his legacy is that, like, he started struggling before people admitted he was the problem.
Yeah.
Because there had been so much fair criticism of a front office that didn't add to the offense with early draft picks.
Right. And then he gets hurt in 23, plays in 24, and looks terrible. He looks nothing like Aaron Rodgers. And then all of a sudden, here he is in Pittsburgh now, and you're trying to reclaim what you were 5 years ago. I don't see it happening. But I think Aaron Rodgers he He loves that limelight.
I think you make a good point in that it's hard. I've never been famous or an athlete. So I think that there is an interesting factor to this, though, with like, you think that you're done with the limelight until you're out of it.
Also, great point made by Joan Bellevue. Aaron Rodgers wants the going away tour.
That's what I said when we were talking about this in Hype Train. I said, I think that he said this because it's like going to your own funeral. You got to see what everyone thinks about you.
You saw it with like Derek Jeter. You've seen it with David Ortiz.
Yes.
Kobe Bryant's
They
final
announce
year
it so
with
they
the
can have
Lakers.
promotional videos on the Jumbotron in a stadium.
Every opposing team can hand you a gift of some local thing.
And when you face the Packers, they're going to have a giant thank you video.
Oh, yeah.
I think Joe's right. That's what I thought too, is like mentioning this now is so that you have a year of people singing your praises. I'm retiring.
So whenever this show goes
you guys
on
have to mention
location somewhere.
how grateful you are for me.
Wow.
How wonderful I am.
Stacy's so great.
What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, Cal Raleigh was named American League Player of the Week and remains in second place among AL All-Star vote getters. What's the real headline?
Imagine having Barry Bonds-esque midseason home run numbers and being fairly in second place.
Yeah.
That's what's wild about this. You
gonna
as
be a
much as
climb.
you hated the Jeff Passan cut earlier, called him Sleepy Jeff for not staying up for those West Coast games. I don't think there's East Coast bias here when it comes to Aaron Judge. There is a bias towards Yankees coverage, towards the prestigiousness of that organization, fairly, I guess. But I don't think that's the case here. Aaron Judge is just doing something we've never seen before. And I think, unfortunately, the same way we do sometimes for even Shohei Ohtani, we get fatigued with great players. There's Aaron Judge fatigue.
There is. And maybe that works in Cal Raleigh's favor. Maybe voters are like, okay, we've given Aaron Judge enough of these AL MVPs. Like, let's give it to somebody new. Cal Raleigh, you've never been on the MVP conversation before? Here, have one. You see it a lot in the NBA where guys will win like 2 or 3 in a row.
And they'll be like, that's enough, Joel.
Yeah, exactly. And even though they're like still the best player in the league, they'll be like, no, you don't get another one. Like LeBron James, for most of his career, has been the most valuable player in the NBA. But I think, Nikola Jokic too. But I think both those guys have only won like 3 in their career.
Is there ever someone that absolutely deserved MVP that did not get it because of fatigue, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think Shaq didn't get it one year and Steve Nash won it when he was with the Phoenix Suns. So, like, voter fatigue is a real thing, especially for these awards. I just don't know if baseball writers are fatigued yet with Aaron Judge, because baseball writers love themselves some New York Yankees.
Yeah, I think, yes. I also think there's just such a fair argument to make for him getting it. I'm just liking that with each home run Cal hits, not only has it become, I haven't personally, probably since I was a kid, experienced that feeling of, you talked about it, right? Bump was talking to us about, hey, when you were younger and let's say you were watching Griffey, was this your experience? And you were like, yeah, that feeling of thinking anything could happen when this guy gets to the plate.
Yeah.
That is a very cool feeling. In addition to just the experience of watching this team right now as a Mariners fan with what Cal's doing, each home run he hits does also add to that debate in a very real way, right? I mean, look, there is a home run total that Cal can hit wherein no matter what Judge's average is, no matter what his OPS is, you can't give it to him. What is that number, though? That's the real question, right? Is that number, if that number is 66, 67, how do you not give that to Cal Raleigh?
Right.
If he hits 58, that's unbelievable. But if Judge hits 56 and is raking otherwise, you have to give it to Judge.
Do you? Yeah. But come on, Cal. Finish with 58. Aaron Judge, you can take it a couple weeks off. That's fine. Get manage that workload. Have a couple other guys play center field for the Yankees for a little bit. Like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
The Mariners are on today, technically. They take on the Twins in Game 2 of a 4-game series. Pregame starts at 3:30 p.m. right here on Seattle Sports. First pitch at 4:40 p.m. Taking a look around the NFL next.
The most first-half home runs for a catcher in baseball history.
Congratulations, Cal Raleigh.
Big dumper.
American League Player of the Week. A .417 average.
OPS over 1,600. 5 homers, 12 ribbies.
And one hell of a model American.
Now, the question of whether or not he's the front runner as AL MVP.
Where you follow along the Big Dumpers, Big Run. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with 0 investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Breaking news for the people of Boomtown. With Xfinity Mobile, the Wi-Fi is booming at home and on the go.
And an upgrade storm's on the way.
That's right. And with Xfinity Mobile Premium Unlimited, you can upgrade your phone when you want, up to 2 times a year.
Now, once customers catch wind of the guaranteed new device discount, it'll be the biggest upgrade storm in history.
Wow. Let's hear from our weatherman on the scene.
How's it looking out there, Rick?
Well, Bill, the Wi-Fi is still booming.
Now through September 30th, existing Xfinity Internet customers can get an unlimited line included for a year. Plus, ask how to get a free 5G phone. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Unlimited line offer requires Xfinity 300 megabit internet or above. Taxes, fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Reduced speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds vary.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with 0 risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Seahawks training camp, powered by Boeing, is back at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center, July 23rd through August 12th. Take in stunning lakeside views, grab autographs from your favorite players, and let the kids join in on pre-practice football drills and more. Register now at Seahawks.com/training camp.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. On a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Washington is leading the way in car theft reduction. Car thefts dropped by 32% from 2023 to 2024 in our state, but there's still work to be done. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips are brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Summer is here, and now is the time to break through those weight loss frustrations. Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and we have a proven system that can help you lose weight and get healthy. No drugs, no side effects, no calorie counting, no exercise. Just teaching you the simple steps to become a fat-burning machine and keep it off long term. Remove the stress of trying to do this on your own and picture being down 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days with our help. At Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, we know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle changes. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Yeah, look your best this summer. Even with a busy schedule and vacation, the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan isn't going to cause much disruption. Don't wait or put it off because you're busy. Lose weight during this summer and watch that transformation really happen for you.
Join the thousands of people who've lost 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. You can do our program in person in Kirkland or all remotely. Schedule your free phone consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
If you've ever wondered if there's something after death, Tyler Henry proves the answer is yes. Be part of his live audience readings and his jaw-dropping ability to connect with the departed at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, July 10th and Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Experience this evening of hope and healing, bringing peace and closure to loved ones. Tyler Henry proves our loved ones never leave us. Get tickets at muckleshootcasino.com.
Muckleshoot. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Okay, a big, complicated story to lead off NFL headlines. This is not about a unique player or team, but about a massive collusion case in which the league was found innocent with evidence that they very much colluded. I know, it's complicated. But this is the latest from Pablo Torre Finds Out, his podcast and YouTube series. He had a bit of a competition with Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, and it was basically like, who can uncover evidence? Who can uncover the most? Who can uncover evidence of collusion with league officials? And Pablo did, in fact, uncover it. So there's two stories happening here. One is what actually happened legally, and the other has to do with some nasty kind of politics about the player union.
I love the mess.
Nastiness. Okay, so we'll start with the case itself. I'll start with saying the NFL won this case, but for kind of a weird reason. So basically, the NFL, this is a huge collusion case, was found to have, this is actually from the decision itself, colluded. Quote, there is little question the NFL Management Council, with the blessing of the commissioner, encouraged 32 NFL clubs to reduce guarantees and veteran contracts at the March 2022 annual owners meetings. Why 2022? This follows, right, that 5-year deal, fully guaranteed, $230 million given to Deshaun Watson. I got a couple questions when talking about this earlier in 4 Down territory of someone saying, well, Kirk Cousins had a fully guaranteed deal, right? Yes, you're absolutely correct. But we're talking about more years, 2 more years, and massive amounts of money here. Hundreds of millions, not just 84 million. So this was a massive, massive contract, a win for players and the union when Watson signed that deal. Owners panic, the league panics. They're basically telling everyone, no way, we're not doing this. And the league finds evidence of this. However, the NFL avoided being found guilty here because a number of NFL owners, Mike Florio says no fewer than 8, said, oh, we didn't listen to them. So I like this analogy that Mike Florio uses. He said, the best metaphor that I can find is this. The league was caught with its hand in the cookie jar and with crumbs on its shirt, but because the ruler didn't actually see the league eating cookies, he just accepted their claim that they didn't. That's kind of what happened. So there's evidence of a council encouraging the league to not give guaranteed money. And then league owners were like, oh yeah, we just didn't listen, so we definitely didn't collude, okay? We promise. Fingers crossed. So anyway, so that's how the NFL got away with this one. So what Pablo Torre, this is our next story here, what Pablo Torre and Mike Florio were both fairly wondering is, well, wait a minute, even though the league technically came out the victor here, there's clear evidence in this 61-page document that they colluded against guaranteed contracts for players. Why would the NFL Players Union and Players Association not be screaming this from the rooftops and not be taking this as kind of like maybe a PR win?
Yeah.
The answer is maybe messy one. So Mike Florio and Pablo Torre have 2 theories. First, from Mike Florio, the current union president, he says, prefers to win through negotiations, not litigation. So he'd rather be seen as a successful union president by getting these guys new contracts and not just by like suing or taking it to the courts, I guess. That's Florio's theory, I think, if I'm understanding it correctly. The second one involves Russell Wilson. The second theory is that the NFLPA may not wanted to have shared a lot of information about this case because part of this case uncovered texts, private text messages from Chief Strategy Officer J.C. Tretter to the main union guy. About
I think it was DeMaurice Smith.
Yes, Smith, excuse me. About then Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson. So J.C. Tretter thought that Wilson had an opportunity to get another major guaranteed contract so that Wilson could like really set a precedent here to get, we're talking 5 years, $250 million. Like he could change the game for certainly quarterbacks, but for players getting these guaranteed contracts. And then he didn't do it. So in these text messages, he referred to Wilson as, quote, a wuss, among other things. And he said that Russell Wilson ruined this for everyone. So Pablo Torre thinks maybe they kept this quiet so that it wouldn't be obvious that basically the assistant president of the Players Association was ridiculing over text another union member. That's what this is. I know that they're, one's a current player, but it looks really bad on J.C. Tretter's part.
It does. I don't know if that responsibility should have been left up to Russell Wilson. Like, I don't think he is the one responsible for there not being fully guaranteed contracts across the NFL. Like, if anything, like that should have been something the NFLPA should have pushed for in CBA negotiations. Yes, a fully guaranteed contract of a player of Russell Wilson's magnitude would have done a lot for the NFLPA, but that's a lot of responsibility to put on just one player, especially when that was not the precedent, just a few months prior when Deshaun Watson had signed his deal with the Browns.
Here's what Pablo Torre had to say.
Because what I'm told is that the owners actually used J.C. Tretter blaming Russell Wilson as evidence of non-collusion. Because what J.C. Tretter is saying there, to be very clear about this, is that the reason Russell Wilson didn't get a fully guaranteed contract is because he's not smart enough, not strategic enough to push hard enough for it. And not because the owners were colluding against Russell Wilson or Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray or the players. J.C. Tretter was blaming the player instead of the owners, and the owners were like, this feels like a very helpful bit of evidence for what we're trying to prove, which is that this case should be dismissed. And by the way, not unrelatedly, the case ultimately was.
Oops. Uh-oh. If I say that your boss is breaking the law because he refuses to give people time off, but then I get mad at you for not requesting time off, it kind of makes the boss's point that, like, well, you didn't even ask for it. Yeah. I mean, that's the best example that I can think of where J.C. Tretter kind of did the job for the NFL by being mad at Russell Wilson and making it personal. And you can not like Russell Wilson all you want. And J.C. Tretter does have kind of a case privately to make about this, right? If I'm J.C. Tretter, I'm probably thinking the same thing where I'm going, oh, you have so much leverage. They just gave up 2 firsts and 2 seconds for you. You can, what's it called? Like take them to the, what's it called?
The woodshed?
I don't know.
Take them to the cleaners?
Take them to the cleaners. I was going to say the laundromat.
Same thing.
You can take them to the dryers.
Yeah.
But you can take them to the cleaners. That you have so much leverage in this situation. You can get a fully guaranteed contract. Just do it. So I get what he's saying. You texting this to someone else about a current union member, Russell Wilson, is not just a bad look, but you did make the NFL's point.
Yeah.
You got mad at a player for not asking or pushing for or getting guaranteed money. You have to be mad at the league for not giving it to him. That's the case you're trying to make in court.
Direct your anger elsewhere, man.
Yeah. Next up. Pete Carroll was on Marshawn Lynch's podcast this week, and he shared why he wasn't in favor of the NFL reseeding teams in the playoffs.
I wasn't voting for that other rule. I was voting for the division one. I just like the structure. And I'm old-fashioned about it, maybe, maybe, but I like the structure and I like the championship within the championship. That's just part of it. Remember, I always said, only NFC West was our deal, and only the AFC West is what it is now. And if you do that, now you set up for the next cycle of championship run, and so I like that. Remember what we did with it? Remember the freaking game? Nobody would ever have thought they're saying, oh, this is the worst matchup in the history of the NFL, and we're going to get murdered and all.
Hey, Coach, I remember the whole...
We wasn't even close to getting murdered. We freaking won going away.
A great point for Pete Carroll that one of the best Seahawks memories, at least recent-ish memories, doesn't happen with playoff reseeding.
Exactly. I think it's a great point made by Pete, and I think reseeding the playoffs would be a really bad thing for the NFL because it lessens the importance of winning your division, which is something that every team strives to do in the regular season. You got to have things to play for in the regular season, right? And that is one of them. Guarantees yourself home field advantage for at least one game in the playoffs. If you get the number one seed, you get home field advantage the entire way. I think reseeding the playoffs would be a bad thing that I don't think would make the regular season mean as much.
What I need to know coming your way next, a little early because we've got the dugout for 1 to 2. So we're going all Mariners, beginning with Shannon Drayer joining us at 1 p.m. So get your questions in now for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776.
The most first-half home runs for a catcher in baseball history.
Congratulations, Cal Raleigh.
Big dumper.
American League Player of the Week. A .417 average.
OPS over 1,600. 5 homers, 12 ribbies.
And one hell of a model American.
Now you have the question of whether or not he's the front runner as AL MVP.
Where you follow along the Big Dumpers, Big Run, Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They are here 24/7, 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same, and that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and we've been talking about this. Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. You can book now for an unforgettable summer experience because the hotel opens up August 8th. Bookings are open at snocasino.com starting on August 8th. The expanded non-gaming floor, the destination spa, the big new entertainment space and convention center, new restaurants as well. They're combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. Go to snocasino.com for details. Seattle's closest. Now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Was drafted in 1999 by the Philadelphia 76ers, and that was just absolutely a dream come true.
Todd's playing in the NBA is unique. His battle with neuropathy is not.
I first started noticing problems a couple years into my NBA career, and I felt like my sock was just balled up right in the arch of my foot, and there'd be areas of burning and tingling, and then there'd be other areas of deadness where there would be no response to touch. We tried everything possible from surgery to different drugs to try and take care of some of the symptoms.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, non-drug, pain-free procedures that have helped thousands of neuropathy sufferers find relief.
Now I'm able to spend more time doing the things that I enjoy, being on my feet.
If you experience numbness, shooting, or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Heading to the ball game? Don't mess with traffic and pricey parking fees. Make it easy and ride the bus. It's affordable and convenient. No stress, no hassle. And plenty of time to grab a hot dog before first pitch. Community Transit makes riding the bus fun, easy, and affordable. You save money on parking, and kids under 18 ride for free. See where they can take you and plan your trip today. Go to Community Transit at ctgo.org/home run.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions in. 866-979-3776. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. We're about to get to an All Mariners hour for the dugout, 1 to 2. Before we do, answering your questions. First listener says, rank these by most impressive. 3 things here, all baseball related. Hit for the cycle, a no-hitter, or a 4-home run game. I don't want to say least impressive, but most impressive to third most impressive.
Most impressive is a 4-home run game.
Okay.
The fact that they're even pitching to you in your 4th at-bat is always insane to me, especially if you've already hit 3 home runs. And I think only 17 or 18 guys have ever done it in baseball history. Next most impressive.
No hitter or the cycle.
What's
not
funny
common.
is the weird thing about these two is that I don't think anybody ever sets out to hit for the cycle.
No,
it just kind of happens. Yeah. Whereas a no hitter is literally a pitcher doing their job that day.
I'm gonna go no hitter.
That is what you want to do
second.
every day. I'll go 4-home run game, no hitter, hit for the cycle. The cycle just is chance. It's not something anybody has a goal of doing that day.
The worst is I wonder if there's ever been someone can find it easily, home run, triple double, and just say they didn't get the single. Because it's always someone waiting for the triple.
Yeah,
but
the triple's obviously the hardest.
Yeah,
I think Cal came a triple short just on the most recent homestand, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or was it
the cycle?
Yeah.
Everyone always gets a triple short.
Right. As soon as a guy gets a triple, no matter what else they've done in the game, it's like, oh man, cycle, it can happen. It can happen.
866-979-3776. What I need to know. I just had one here. Someone said, what's your acceptable speed to go over the speed limit on the highway? Let's say speed limit's 60. What's an acceptable speed? I think 70 is very acceptable.
Yeah, I'm not going to go much more than 10 to 15 above.
No, because I always think if you were ticketed on a freeway for going 10 or less over, I think that's an egregious ticket. Like, most people drive around 10 over, especially in the fast lane. But
yeah,
if you were ticketed for going 75, yeah, well, you're going 15 over.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel.
Just don't just go 10 over the whole time. Like,
yeah, you're not cutting people off and weaving around. But if traffic is moving collectively, cars aren't passing or being passed by you at 70, I think that's fair.
I think so too.
I think we're settling on 10.
Yeah.
866-979-3776. What I need to know. Oop, I got a Mariners one here. With the Mariners showing so much improvement early in the season with this new approach via Seitzer and Edgar, do you think this could make Seattle a more attractive destination for free agents as opposed to being a place hitters have shown a lack of interest in the past?
I think it's going to take more than one season of results.
Yes, and I also think, while I do want to give a lot of credit to your hitting staff, I think we sometimes overcredit the influence of a manager, of coaches, of analytics staff, when it's kind of all combined as part of the recipe to get some improved offense.
Yeah.
So I think the most important thing will be making the playoffs and rewarding players with contracts.
Right.
So, like, if you were to extend Logan and continue to make the playoffs, like a team that players want to know, I'm going to be rewarded for good work and I can make the playoffs. If I can do those two things, then I can find happiness.
I think one thing that would potentially entice free agents to come here is the knowledge of, like, I'm going to get to play with Cal Raleigh for at least the next 6 years. We get to play with Julio Rodriguez for the next however many years he's signed for. Potentially, the rest of Julio's career if he hits certain markers. But, like, that's going to be a big draw for guys, more so than just, like, a new hitting approach.
Soft move or boss move as a passenger, hanging your feet out the window on a hot day. Ooh,
that's kind of gross.
Of like a car or like a bus.
Yeah, like if you're the passenger, your buddy or whoever is driving, and you're like, guys, I'm just gonna put my feet up, put them out the window right now.
Did I tell you about the worst date I've ever been on in my entire life?
The guy who put his feet up on your dash.
So I went on. This was years ago. I went on. Matt, have I ever told you this?
I don't think I've ever heard this.
I went on the worst date of my entire life. I showed up to the date, and
the guy was wearing flip-flops, right?
He was wearing flip-flops. I was dressed up. Like, I was, it's like a nice spring day. I had heels and a cute little top, and he just looked like he, like, rolled out of bed and was like, why am I here? And immediately didn't seem interested in me, so I was like, I'm done with this, but continued the date. And then when we were, like, we stayed at that bar, went to one more, and then I was like, okay, well, I had so much fun. Thanks so much. I do not plan on talking to this person ever again. He asks if I can give him a ride home and said he lives just, like, down the street. And
that was a mistake.
Being a pushover, I was like, sure. So he gets in my car and takes his flip-flops off.
Oh, God.
And puts his bare feet on my, like, on the dash.
Arrest him.
Truly,
immediately. I would have
I could
driven
not
to the
wait
police
for him to
station.
get on. I was like,
yeah.
I can't believe that I even stayed on this date. I had no spine. I just constantly was, cool.
You should have gotten your car detailed and sent him the bill. That's disgusting.
So gross. I wonder what he's doing now. Probably.
I don't want to know.
He seems like someone that would, like,
He's
walk.
probably living in a commune somewhere.
He seemed really normal at first.
Probably one of those people that's, like, sharing a communal bathroom and, like, one of those places where it's like, yeah, man, we don't wear deodorant around here. It's like, oh, buddy.
Gross. 866-979-3776. What I need to know.
A lot of people saying if you put your feet up on the dash, it is a big risk of getting a serious injury in a car accident.
Will Julio be able, says the 425, to break out of his mediocre offensive production like Cal is doing right now? I have two issues with this question.
Buddy, no one's doing what Cal's doing right now.
That's my first issue. I wouldn't call Julio's production mediocre. I would say it is underwhelming for his talent level, but it is not mediocre. I would also say to expect anyone, including Cal Raleigh, to do what Cal Raleigh is doing right now is completely unfair.
Yeah. No one can do what Cal Raleigh's doing right now.
That's wild. I think what you're really asking 425 is, can Julio heat up so that we can have two hot batters, which is a fair question. Totally fair question. And I hope so. Have you seen anything from Julio to make you think? I mean, he went how long without a home run?
It was a few weeks. It was like 2 or 3 weeks. He hit one last night.
Is it too much to take from one home run in one game for you to feel encouraged?
Yeah. I think if he does it either tonight or tomorrow, if he hits like 3 or 4 this week, then I think then you can start to feel a little more encouraged about where he's at with the bat. But as everybody kind of points to with Julio's season so far, it's not like he hasn't been productive. He's going to be finishing with near 5 wins above replacement at the pace he's going on. I'll take that every day.
Yeah. We're sticking with the Mariners. Mariners insider Shannon Drayer joins us next for the Dugout.
The most first-half home runs for a catcher in baseball history.
Congratulations, Cal Raleigh.
Big dumper.
American League Player of the Week.
A .417 average. OPS over 1,600. 5 homers, 12 ribbies.
And one hell of a model American.
Now you have the question of whether or not he's the front runner as AL MVP.
Where you follow along the Big Dumpers, Big Run, Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Walking away from an interaction with a customer that says, I can't believe how easy this was. I can't thank you enough for helping me.
Our strategy with pricing is not to be the highest price and not to be the lowest price, but to be a really good price and to provide a really good experience to the customer.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. Afterwards to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of candies and fruits and stuff. It was just really sweet. It felt like we were truly helping.
Receiving a handwritten letter that's personalized to a salesperson or a service advisor or a technician expressing gratitude, and then taking that home and sharing that with your family and hanging that on your refrigerator, that's the difference.
You hear it from one person, and then another, and another. You come to realize it's not a script, it's a belief. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
It's the Graz here for my friends at Premier Golf. Take advantage of early sunrise and late sunset at the 11 different Premier courses today. From Bellingham, Everett, and Marysville to Linwood, Bellevue, and Seattle, even out on the coast, they've got a course near you. Play Inter Bay or Jackson, Bill Wright or West Seattle, Bellevue, Legion Memorial, Walter Hall, Linwood, Cedar Crest, Lake Patton, and even Ocean Shores. Courses are in great shape and ready for your next round. Visit PremierGolfCenters.com, that's PremierGolfCenters.com, and book your tee time today.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bail Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bailalarm.com today.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Smoked paprika in your go-to goulash? That's go-go goulash. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway, an alternate route that'll help manage congestion and provide better access to SeaTac. Open soon, free through summer.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills. pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin-tightening results, all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with Xfi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Need a new roof, but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Caitlin Clark and the Fever make their first trip to Seattle this season to face the Storm tonight. The Mariners beat the Twins yesterday with home runs from Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Dom Canzone, and Luke Raley. Game 2 today at 4:40 p.m. Pregame show at 3:30 p.m. And finally, Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers joined the Pat McAfee show earlier this morning and told the host he's, quote, pretty sure this season will be his last in the NFL.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is The Dugout. Every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy. Inside access to the clubhouse from Shannon Drayer on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Shannon Drayer joining us right now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Shannon, I'm going to start with the question that Curtis and I have already been talking about for 3 hours today, and that's whether or not Cal Raleigh can make his case. We haven't veered from it once. Not once. And that's whether or not Cal Raleigh can make his case for AL MVP. In your mind, what's the best case for Cal?
I mean, you have to obviously get to the end of the season. So obviously there's got to be consistency. You've got to be there. And I think one of the challenges for him will be is if you're looking at overall WAR, he is a catcher. He's going to probably have a couple more days off than Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani, depending on, what he does. But I think that what we have seen so far with him is he has shown greater consistency at the plate than Aaron Judge has. So you hope that you continue to see that. And I'm talking about the home runs. I mean, Judge got off to the hot start, and he was able to kind of put up the stats across the board. It wasn't just the power numbers for him, but he's really fallen off. And so that gets me a little bit curious. And Cal's consistency has been remarkable, and I think you could even make a case that he is getting better as the season goes on at the plate. And then I think you really have to take into consideration what he is doing, in that he is, as a defensive player, probably more valuable than anybody out there. You have to take into consideration everything that he takes on as a catcher. And I saw Alex Mayer had the stat this morning that, the win probability added, he's at the top of that. And if you look at it, I mean, most of the home runs, he hit one late yesterday, and it was at the end of the game, and the game was out of the reach. But I'm not sure there's a player you would more want at the plate in a clutch situation right now than Cal. And I think that if that continues to play out, if the Mariners stay in contention, when you look at MVP, a lot of it kind of plays into what they have done for their team to propel them to where they are and kind of that hero aspect of it. And I think the coolest thing that we're seeing right now is he's getting the recognition, nationwide. He is known in baseball right now. I'm getting a good chuckle at the prospect of seeing Big Dumper on the back of an all-star jersey. But I think that when you look at the balloting, and he has the second most votes in the American League, those aren't Mariners fans. Those are fans that are all over. The Mariners fans are in there, of course, but pretty easy to take a look at what the other Mariners have garnered and have a good idea of how many votes are coming from the Mariners fans. And he is certainly, front of mind right now with baseball. So I think there are a lot of ways that he can put together a case, but obviously it's got to play itself out on the field.
Shannon, you've covered some pretty historic performances in your time on the Mariners beat, and Ichiro's single season hit record, Felix Cy Young when he won that in 2010. Does this feel like that? Does this feel different? Like what kind of vibe are you getting every single day watching Cal do what he does?
It feels like a combination of both of them, because with Ichiro, we were seeing everything as a first. And in some aspects, we're seeing that with Cal. Yeah, he's been here for this is his fifth year right now, but the performance that he is making right now, nobody, including, the entire staff, including his hitting coaches, including everybody, nobody saw this coming at this level. You expect, hey, it'd be nice if he took a step forward. You didn't think he was going to, include, just take the whole lap around the entire track in what he has done. So kind of along those lines, it's just everything that you see, I think, is just so unexpected. You expected good performance, but not historic. So I think that kind of reminds me a little bit of Ichiro, and that every game is just kind of a revelation. And then with Felix, what we just talked about, I think it's with Felix, it was kind of our own little kind of secret up in the Pacific Northwest, and everybody who was looking at wins and losses, and before they kind of understood that kind of thing in the campaign, that you really had to put on to get the recognition for him. That's just what you were talking about right there. How does he overcome what Judge has done? And it is, I think you do kind of more of a deeper dive into the numbers and into the situations and things like that. So for me, it's a little bit of both. And, also a little bit unique in that what he is doing encompasses every aspect of the game. Ichiro, yes, the defense was part of it, but he wasn't out there forever. I mean, Cal's on the field almost the entire game. He is touching the baseball almost, over, 50% of the game. He is involved in the pitching side, and he's also, clearly, one of the huge leaders on this team and what propels this team and makes it go. Felix could only do that every 5 days, and he couldn't swing a bat. Ichiro could only do that every time he stepped up to the plate, and occasionally if a ball was hit to right field and somebody was on the run. Cal is impacting everything that is happening when the other team is at the plate. And I just think it's pretty spectacular to watch.
I know that sometimes in baseball, it's very baseball-esque for people just to have standout seasons. And so sometimes when a guy absolutely takes off and is doing crazy things, it's like, well, that's baseball. Like he'll either come back down to earth or maybe that'll end up being his best statistical season. However, outside of just the up and down nature of baseball, is there something Cal's doing or has done? Because every time we talk to someone, this isn't his profile as a player per se. He's exceeding all of those expectations. So is there something you see from him at the plate, or maybe something he's talked about?
I literally thought of this like 5 minutes ago. So
we're so on the same page.
Like I always debut these things on either Bump and Stacy or on the dugout. The thoughts, I'm sure nobody else is listening. Maybe this theory is just kind of baloney. But when you look at what he has done, and you look at the month of June, and you look at the months individually, April started out like you start out a season, and then really came on, like a house on fire in the last 2-3 weeks of the month. And then June, you thought, or May, okay, he's slowed down. He's not going to hit 10 home runs again. And sure enough, here he comes. And then the same thing in June, which even seemed a little bit more dramatic than in May. And kind of looking at what he did and what he's supposed to be, this is a guy that was prone to a strikeout. Yeah, he was going to have the pop, but he was also going to strike out. Strikeout rate is 18.8% in the month of June. And he has done that, lowered his strikeout percentage while I think has become more aggressive at the plate. And why would he become more aggressive at the plate? Well, I think he's thinking that's when he's going to get his best pitch. He's not giving the pitchers a chance to really kind of adjust to him. He's kind of taking control of the at-bat. And then it hit me that I'm thinking, how much is his catcher brain playing into this? How much is he kind of thinking ahead of? His barrel rate is what's kind of taken just a huge jump. He's just not missing anything. And I mean, how much of that is that he is anticipating and that, he's done everything mechanically that he needs to do. He's comfortable at the plate. He can sit back when he needs to. He's not afraid to take the big swing at times. And how much of that plays into kind of his confidence and what that pitcher is going to do to him or try to do to him. You talk about pitchers adjusting to hitters, and I'm wondering how much he is doing that right now as he goes along into the third month of the season, as he does throughout the month, as he does throughout a game. And that kind of, to me, is seeing that adjustment that he has made and seeing less pitches per plate appearance in the month of June. And I'm just wondering, is he just kind of staying one step ahead in that regard because everything else is working? So I think that perhaps that is one aspect of what he has done that we haven't really taken into consideration, and that could be a part of it.
Shannon, we've seen some standout offensive performances from guys not named Cal Raleigh too on this team, and from guys that I think it's come a little bit of surprise for some of us. Donovan Solano with a multi-home run game, Dom Canzone with a multi-home run game, Mitch Garver too. Of those three, which one have you been most encouraged by to see kind of take off here in the last few days?
All of them. I like them all because they all bring different things. I mean, Dom Canzone, it's going to be the power. He's going to need the power. And he has shown that. And again, we haven't seen the strikeouts with him, and he was a guy that struck out at a horrific rate. Extremely small sample for him. We are talking 11 games with him, but he's, impacting the baseball, not striking out, and that's what you need from him and you need from that position. And, you add Luke Raley to that, and all of a sudden, the lineup looks a lot different. Solano has kind of turned back into exactly what you should have expected him to be, because this is what he's been throughout his career. His BABIP is ridiculously high right now. He's not going to hit 467, which is what he has hit in June with an on-base percentage of 500 the rest of the way. But he is supposed to be able to put the ball in play. He is supposed to be able to move the line. He is supposed to have smart at-bats and every now and then pop a home run, and that's what he has been doing, all the while playing a very decent first base, like a surprisingly good at times, making some plays I didn't know that he was capable of over there. So, if he can continue to be what he has been throughout his career, he's a 275 average hitter, which you don't think much of, with no pop, and that's fine. But as long as the other guys around him are doing that, then that's what you want from him. And so that has been great to see. And I'd go ahead and throw in Ben Williamson in that group too. I mean, it hasn't been overly impressive in what he did at the beginning of, when he first came up the first few weeks. And didn't expect that to hold up, but he is surviving while holding down the defense at a position where they need the defense. And now he's kind of checking in with a hit. It just seems almost every game, lowered the strikeout percentage a little bit. And hopefully is able to just kind of continue just taking perhaps those small steps and contributing the way that he has. I think this team really got into trouble when all of a sudden you lost the bottom third of your lineup. And that was what was so huge for them in April, is that they had the hitting all throughout the lineup. And then you just didn't have it. You were giving them the break at the lower third. And if they weren't able to get on or do anything, if anybody else was struggling anywhere else, it was really kind of flipping things in the favor of the pitcher at that point. And you're starting to slowly see them come along a little bit. And I think that has had big impact. But yeah, Luke Raley, great to see what he's done off of the IL. You cross your fingers with what you've seen with Solano because you do need those guys that can just get on base or move the line. And if Canzone can do what he is doing without playing every day, that is going to be a very, very valuable, bench/DH occasionally type bat for this team.
She is Mariners insider Shannon Drayer. Read her work at seattlesports.com and follow her on x.com at Shannon Drayer. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
You got it, guys.
The latest from Jeff Passan coming your way next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Talking about the Mariners plan for the trade deadline. You think people are reticent to the minor leagues and trade some prospects? I know fans develop a connection to names they hear over and over. Often you don't see these guys. I don't know how many people are making trips out to Everett or out to Tacoma to watch the young guys, but there just aren't any sure things.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey. Honey! What? Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Breaking news for the people of Boomtown. With Xfinity Mobile, the Wi-Fi is booming, at home and on the go.
And an upgrade storm's on the way.
That's right. And with Xfinity Mobile Premium Unlimited, you can upgrade your phone when you want, up to 2 times a year.
Now, once customers catch wind of the guaranteed new device discount, it'll be the biggest upgrade storm in history.
Wow. Let's hear from our weatherman on the scene.
How's it looking out there, Rick?
Well, Bill, the Wi-Fi is still booming.
Now through September 30th, existing Xfinity Internet customers can get an unlimited line included for a year. Plus, ask how to get a free 5G phone. Learn more at XfinityMobile.com. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Unlimited line offer requires Xfinity 300 megabit internet or above. Taxes, fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Reduced speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds vary.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Earlier in the show, Curtis Rogers and for Michael Bumpus and myself played some sound from Jeff Passan on with Brock and Salk talking about Cal Raleigh's season. If you guys want to go listen to that, it's going to be in hour 2, right? Of Bump and Stacy,
yes.
Or obviously from Brock and Salk this morning for the full interview. Right now, we're just going to go over some of what Jeff Passan had to say about MLB's trade deadline. Now, a little over a month away, and I think all we're trying to figure out right now are who are going to be the sellers. You have expanded playoffs. It feels like there's, 6 teams that are truly, truly out of it, and everyone else is a maybe. So Jeff Passan was asked, are there any surprise names or teams to target? And he, like Bob Nightingale, is looking at the Diamondbacks and specifically at one bat in particular.
Just a guy,
Josh Naylor,
who he walks
He hits for high average. He's got some power. And best of all, he does not strike out. And those are the guys who, when you're putting together a playoff lineup, Mike, you want. Guys who are not going to give away at bats, going to put the ball in play, but also capable of hitting it hard.
Always really interesting, Curtis, to talk about what you can add at the trade deadline, because everything has a little caveat. Like, you're not going to find a perfect solution. There's not like a Cal Raleigh 2.0 that you can find. You've got to give something up to get someone who's a gamble.
Sure. Yeah, you can't just hand over your bags of garbage and expect to receive gold coins in return. That's not how trade deadline trades work. That's not how any trade works. You can't just say, oh, I've got all these pieces that don't make sense for me, but that one piece really makes sense, so I guess I'm just going to do that kind of swap. No. Think about how you would trade anybody at like a flea market or something like that. You got to give up something to get something. And
where are the Mariners hoping to get, do you think?
I think they're hoping to get some more power in that lineup. And Naylor is a guy that can definitely hit the ball out of any ballpark. He has never been one to struggle with home run power. So that to me seems like it's the biggest need for this Mariners team on June 24th is just more consistent power from this offense. And, I mean, look, you did bring back Luke Raleigh, who can hit for power, hit for 20-plus home runs a year ago. But he's also coming off the oblique injury, so you don't quite know what he's going to be like long-term for you. So just to get a more proven bat and one that maybe, if things break well, you have him back next year. I know that the Mariners hate doing rental players. They almost refuse to do it unless it's kind of like I'll trade my expiring contract for your expiring contract.
And part of it you can kind of get because they're probably thinking our odds of re-signing someone are lower than a team that's regularly in the playoffs. Like if we trade for a rental and we have a rental here, if he doesn't help us win, he's probably gone.
Right. And the Mariners obviously value club control, especially with their prospects, and there's nothing more valuable than having a player on a rookie contract that outperforms it, and now you're getting way above average production for well below market pay. And with a team like the Mariners, who just aren't going to spend the way that the Yankees or the Dodgers do, that's how you're looking for those avenues. And if you give up more and more of those, I guess lottery tickets in a way, then that's less chances of you hitting the lottery. But also a sure thing like Josh Naylor is available. Like, you've got to weigh the risks of going in on one of these bats for your 2025 season. And look, I don't think going after Josh Naylor in this year is going to wreck your plans in 2029 or however far out.
Yeah, you're not giving up the farm.
No, definitely not. We looked at it yesterday, the package that the Mariners gave up for Randy Arozarena yesterday. It was a guy named Aiden Smith, who was just outside the Mariners' top 10 in terms of just organizational prospects. And then a pitcher named, I think it was Brody Hopkins. Neither of those two guys, I think, are even in the Rays' top 10 right now. And Hopkins has had a decent year, but it just looks like those guys probably aren't going to be like super duper stars at the major league level anytime soon.
Yeah, it's kind of like a horrible analogy is like a Chopped kitchen. You guys watch Chopped, where there's only certain food items that you can work with, and then you got to make something work. That's kind of what the Mariners are looking at. You mentioned that they do prefer controllable bats and don't love rentals. Jeff Passan has some bad news.
I think Ryan McMahon is an option. He is, after this season, under contract for 2 years and $32 million. I do wonder how Ryan McMahon's bat would play in Seattle. Let's not forget, he's been hitting in Colorado all of these years. Beyond that, though, like, if you're looking for a bat, there's not a whole lot in terms of controllable bats. Maybe Luis Robert, and that wouldn't cost a whole lot, frankly. But do you really want Luis Robert at $20 million a year next year and the year after? Taylor, yeah.
Brendan Donovan?
Not. Taylor Ward. I mean, sure, but the Cardinals are probably not going to trade Brendan Donovan.
This is the most fascinating part of any trade, but especially the trade deadline, when you're trying to piece together what looks like it could be a contender, right? You're trying to get this team to the playoffs, and you're looking at other teams and you're going, man, you have to take advantage of opportunity. You aren't going to a fully loaded grocery store. You're taking your prospects and any big league pieces you might be willing to part with, though ideally not a lot since you're still trying to fill holes. And you're going into a market where there are fewer sellers. And not only that, but there are pieces that are incomplete fits. Maybe they're rentals. Maybe they're older. Maybe you're not sure, his first point about McMahon, how their power is going to translate to a pitcher-friendly park as opposed to Coors Field. And it's a really fascinating spot for the front office to be in. As critical as I can be, I also understand the difficulty of the decisions they have to make, of the puzzle they have to put together. It's not easy. I have a hard time as a reporter with no skin in the game looking at like who might be available and who might be a fit. Imagine, hedging your job on it or thinking like this is our season. That being said, it sure feels like this is a team that could be a playoff team if they were to add. This is a down year for the American League.
Yeah.
This is a team and a fan base desperate for more postseason appearances. What if the answer's out there?
Yeah. And
or not the answer, but a complimentary piece.
I mean, and look, Luis Robert has been down the last couple of seasons. You hear Passan say, do you want to be on the hook for him for $20 million next season? And I think the obvious answer among everybody is like, no.
My gut reaction was not especially.
Right. He only has a 573 OPS right now, just 7 home runs. He struck out a ton. He's already got 88 strikeouts.
He's gotten hurt.
But what if I told you that $20 million only exists as a team option next year? Because that's what Luis Robert's contract is for the next 2 seasons in 2026 and 2027. It is a $20 million team option with a $2 million buyout. So basically, you could not exercise that team option on Luis Robert, pay him the rest of his money this year, and call it a wash if he doesn't perform for you. Does that entice you a little bit more?
It does.
Yeah.
Not so much that I think the Mariners would do it, but it does.
Right.
Some flexibility at least.
Sure. And let's say he does perform to what we have come to know about Luis Robert, especially prior to the 2024 season where he was, in 2023 hit 38 home runs, had an 857 OPS, was a 5-win player. Like that is a $20 million player for sure. I don't know if he's going to get back to that level, but if he does play some decent ball down the stretch for you, that $20 million seems a little bit easier to hand over. But again, you're not going to have to be on the hook for that money if you don't want to be.
Mm-hmm. The 2025 MLB All-Star ballot is open. Cal, Julio, JP, and the crew need your help to secure a spot at this year's Midsummer Classic in Atlanta. You can vote up to 5 times per day, every day, but only through this Thursday, June 26th at MLB.com/vote. Also, great news, you can now vote directly from the Seattle Sports app. Just click the Vote tab in the lower right corner of the app once you open it. Then you can just vote directly from Seattle Sports. Rizzs joining us next.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
NFL basically now on hiatus. What do players, coaches, what does everybody do now?
But this is like, okay, we've been back at it, the majority of the guys, since mid-March, early March. You ramp it all the way up, and then now we got to just put it back in the freezer for 5 weeks. We didn't do all this work for the last 3 months for you to go spend a month drinking Busch Lights and getting away from everything.
Every day at 7:45, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Tyrese live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Sunday, July 13th, 8 p.m. You've seen him on the screen. You've heard him on the radio. Now see him live for an unforgettable night. Get tickets before they sell out at MuckleshootCasino.com. Tyrese, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Values have to be within your leadership staff, right? And then that filters down into the rest of your staff.
We're together, we are a team, and without that thought process, you're sunk.
I still revert back to, if I work at a location and I'm willing to have my son work at this location, that should tell you a great deal. I didn't steer my son away, I steered my son to it.
They call it the Lee Johnson Auto family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family.
As much as I love to think that they trust me,
Yeah, our family name is trusted, but it's because of those individual interactions with our people that those folks have had over the years. That's where they build their trust with the relationship.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same, and that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where Groundworks comes in. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
You are listening to The Dugout. Joining us right now, Rizzs on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Rick, how's it going?
Hey, Stacy and Bump, I'm doing fine. How are you? It's a beautiful night out for baseball here in Minneapolis, getting ready for Game 2 of the 4-game series with the Twins.
I am so excited about where this team's at right now. You've got Curtis in for Bump today. I didn't want
Rick.
Curtis's voice to surprise you.
Curtis.
I was like, you're going to hear Curtis and go, what are you doing there?
Oh. Hey,
No.
Curtis, how are you, buddy?
Doing good, Rick.
We've been talking about Cal Raleigh all day, and yet, Riz, I am not fatigued of talking about Cal Raleigh. And I'm especially curious about, I can think of my own baseball memories, but you've experienced and told a lot of stories when it comes to the Mariners. And I'm wondering if what Cal Raleigh is doing reminds you of watching anyone else or you know, puts into context a historical feeling. Because for me, it's kind of the first time I remember just seeing a guy where you're like, I just expect him to get a home run. But what about you? I would imagine there are other names.
Exactly. I mean, it's even hard to even comprehend that I'm even going to say this, that I'm thinking this, but he's showing us this every day. It's a home run every day. He's hit home runs in the last 4 games, on and on and on. I got a ton of notes about the records he's broken for the Mariners, Major League records, but he's doing what Griffey did. When we first saw Ken Griffey Jr. come up to the big leagues as a rookie in 1989, he got going, and all of a sudden in 94, 95, he started to turn into the best player in the game of baseball. And right now, I think Cal Raleigh is one of the best players in the game of baseball. I think he's going to be the MVP the way he's going to the big leagues, the way he's hitting home runs, the way that he's getting his base hits, and he's doing it as a catcher. You know, at a premier position, he's a Gold Glover and a Platinum Glove winner. He helped Brian Wu get out of a jam in the first and the second and the third until Brian got going and ended up getting a win for Brian. And last night's game. He just does so much. He's just so valuable. He's a leading vote getter by a wide margin at catcher for the American League starting position for the All-Star team. And what he's doing is just, it's hard to wrap your mind around all the records that he has. He's 30-plus home runs for a catcher before the All-Star break, moving by Johnny Bench. What he's doing is historical, 30-plus home runs by a switch hitter before the end of the first half of the season, going by a guy by the name of Mickey Mantle. Mantle didn't catch. He played, center field, and also Berkman and Jose Ramirez. He's one of 4 Major League catchers with 3 or more 30-plus home run seasons. Piazza, Bench, Roy Campanella, going back to the 50s. So it's unbelievable what he's doing. And the thing about it, too, is that he's not showing any signs of wear and tear is slowing down. As a matter of fact, he keeps charging ahead, to the midpoint of the season. I don't see him slowing down in the second half. And this is a guy that takes foul balls off his knee, off his ankles, shoulder, face mask, neck, other parts of his body, and he's out there, and he plays every day. And he's a switch hitter, and I'd like to go into that a little bit later on because I dove into that a little bit. But the last guy I saw do something like this was Ken Griffey Jr. when Jr. became one of the greatest players in the game of baseball.
Yeah, Rick, it's been just so much fun to watch day in and day out. So it's been so much fun hearing your guys' calls of Cal's just torrid pace here in the season's first half. I want to know from you, though, what's been more impressive about Cal's game this season? The home runs and just all the offensive production, or just his ability to show up every single day, day in and day out behind home plate and call the games that he does and manage his pitching staff so well?
Yeah, that's a great question, but you can't have one without the other. The thing that you mentioned, the two things, he shows up every day, and by showing up every day, he's able to do, what he's doing. He doesn't want to take a day off. He had one day off, and he was probably like a caged lion inside the dugout, But since he does play every day, he's able to put up the great numbers. He's able to keep his swing great from both sides of the plate. So both are just remarkable. Putting on that uniform every day, and if he's not catching, he's DHing. That's kind of a day off for him, but he's missed, I think, only one game. So I think to be able to play every day, he's able to keep that swing just right from both sides of the plate. And I checked into that, as far as being a switch hitter. Most guys, as a switch hitter, are from one side is their normal side. Let's say a right-handed hitter, then they go left side, or the normal side is a left-handed hitter, then they go right. Not Cal. When he was a kid, he started hitting from both sides of the plate because I asked him years ago, what's your natural side? He said, I don't have one, Rick. But his dad taught him to switch hit. He told me when he was a kid, he takes 10 swings from the right side, 10 swings from the left side. Didn't matter who was pitching. But he's doing just as much damage, when we talk about his offense, Curtis and Stacy, from the left side as he is from the right side. From left side, he's hitting .258, 21 home runs, 49 runs batted in, 190 at-bats, averaging 1 home run every 9 at-bats. Right-handed, he's hitting .320 with 11 home runs, 93 at-bats. He's averaging 1 home run every 8.5 at-bats. So his average from both sides of the plate as far as his power and hitting home runs is exactly the same, which I'll throw that into the remarkable barrel that Cal Raleigh has created this year.
I wanted to ask if there was any other little X factor at play. And I say that, Rick, because we get a lot of questions from fans, and we have many today from today's show, which has been heavily focused on Cal, about, is it a torpedo bat? Is it Edgar and Kevin Seitzer? Is there anything else, any other factor this year that you've either talked to Cal about or talked to that coaching staff about where they said, yeah, this has provided a little bit of a boost too?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that the torpedo bat has helped him out. It's got a little bit longer sweet spot in it, but you still have to make contact. That's where I think Edgar came in, and also Kevin Seitzer and Bobby Magianos. When Edgar took over as the hitting coach last year, when Danny took over as manager on August the 22nd, they went 21-13. And all of a sudden, they were striking out at a record pace last year. All of a sudden, Edgar said, hey, don't strike out, put the ball in play. Cal took that to heart, and so did everybody else on the team. And they started to use the big part of the ballpark. And then when you do that, you make the pitcher work. If he makes a mistake, you can hit it out of the ballpark. The walks went up, the strikeouts went down. They were 21-13, as I mentioned. And then I saw them just take that right into the season. Cal last year hit 34 home runs and hit 220. And this year he's got 32 home runs already, more than anybody in the game of baseball, and he's hitting 278. So he's got the average to go along with it. He's using the big part of the field. He's getting his base hits. He had a little swinging dribbler about 15 feet away from home plate, but had a base hit last night. So he's mixing in his base hits, line drives into the gap besides hitting the ball out of the ballpark. But he did take to heart what Edgar talked about last year, and now what the other three, the combined three hitting coaches have taught everybody on this team, and that's put the ball in play and good things happen. But you got to like the fact that that torpedo bat is helping out Cal. If he thinks that's the reason why, then keep swinging that torpedo bat, which he's now using from both sides of the plate.
Rick, you've called thousands of ball games. The weather at Wrigley Field, where does that rank among the craziest environments you've ever called a game in? Because the sweltering heat plus the 30-mile-an-hour winds, that's insanity.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. It was a circus. They should have had the kaleidoscope music going because it was a circus. But yet I saw Julio Rodriguez outplay PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, who plays there every day when they're at home. In those conditions, Armstrong had all kinds of problems catching a fly ball, and Julio did a great job out there. If you got the ball in the air, it was gone. And the Mariners took advantage of it. They scored they outscored the Cubs 30-20. They hit about 9 home runs in that series. Donovan Solano used, the freeway of Eric blowing out the left field. So did Dom Canzone, hit an opposite field home run. Mitch Garver hit 2 home runs in the opening game of the series. Cal hit 2 home runs in the opening game of the series. So it was just crazy. But in the dugout here in Minnesota yesterday, I saw Julio, and I was talking with Julio, and I said, son, you did a great job out there in Chicago. That wasn't easy. He said, Rick, that was crazy. He said we were at one end of the dugout, and he pointed to the other end of the dugout. He said, if there was a fly ball at the end of the dugout where I normally would go run and catch it, he said, I had to stay that far behind, the length of a dugout, because I knew that ball was going to come back to me. And so it was just unbelievable what he did. But the Mariners went in there for 3 days and made Wrigley Field their own home ballpark. They took advantage of the wind. They put the ball in play all over the place. And now you got Donovan Solano hitting great, Dom Canzone hitting great. Luke Raley is back. He's getting great. So now Danny has a nice rotation in right field and first base with those 3 guys, because all 3 are, swinging a hot bat as well. So you mix those guys in at the bottom of the order with Ben Williams hitting and Cole Young getting their base hits, and then you can go out and score 25 runs in the last 2 games like the Mariners have done, and 41 runs in the last 4 ball games. It was crazy out there, but the Mariners took advantage of it was tough too. It was hot sitting up in the booth. You saw the fans trying to find a patch of shade somewhere to stay cool. I don't know how the fans did it. We lost an umpire during the game. He had to leave the game. Trent Thornton had a rough time trying to finish out, his day a few days ago. But the Mariners survived and thrived in that and did a heck of a job.
He is the voice of the Mariners, Rick Rizzs, kind enough to join us for the dugout. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. And it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. It's not very windy, and it's a beautiful night for baseball here in Minnesota.
We can't wait. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Before we get to Alex, I'm glad that Rick mentioned at the very end Donovan Solano. It was my last question for him, but we didn't have a lot of time. But Jeff Passan, a cut that I didn't play, said if this team's going to be successful, or if a team, it needs the Solanos of the world to go on a heater for a couple weeks. And I thought it was a good way to wrap up both our trade conversation and our conversation with Rick and Shannon about, we've talked so much about Cal today.
Right.
There are a lot of other just guys that are going to have to contribute for this team to make a real run.
For sure. And Donnie Barrel's definitely one of them. And getting that, I guess, seal of approval when it was kind of like, will it be him or will it be Rowdy Tellez that gets DFA'd after Luke Raley comes back? Tellez gets the DFA. Solano then responds and has the best series he's had of his entire season. So great to see that bat get going. Great to see Canzone hit a bunch of home runs here. Garver as well. I mean, we say it every trade deadline, but like the best improvements this team can make come from the guys on the roster. And I think a guy like Solano, especially considering how down most of his first half has been, I mean, what he has done over the last handful of games has been a nice addition to this lineup.
Does Cal Raleigh have a case to make for AL MVP? I think Alex Mayer, joining us in just a couple minutes, has a pretty good argument for him. That's next.
The most first-half home runs for a catcher in baseball history.
Congratulations, Cal Raleigh.
Big dumper.
American League Player of the Week. A .417 average.
OPS over 1,600. 5 homers, 12 ribbies.
And one hell of a model American.
Now you have the question of whether or not he's the front runner as AL MVP.
Where you follow along the Big Dumpers, Big Run, Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret, AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret, AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with Xfi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Alex Mayer joining us right now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Alex.
Hey, Stacy.
So here's the deal. Curtis Rogers and I have been talking all day about Cal Raleigh's MVP campaign, and we've kind of gone back and forth on the number of home runs he'd have to hit, on if he could get his OPS to a certain number, then, and if, Aaron Judge could cool off, then maybe it could happen. You have a completely different argument to make about Cal Raleigh's AL MVP campaign that has nothing to do, or at least not the main focus, with home run production. What is it?
Yeah, so obviously the 32 home runs, the 68 RBIs, both lead the major leagues, let alone the American League. But what I was looking at was wins probability added, WPA. I basically call it the winning stat because it measures how valuable a player is to winning or losing a baseball game. And Cal leads the American League in that stat, actually ranks second in the majors to Shohei Ohtani. He ranks ahead of Judge in WPA, and it's just been really telling about how valuable Cal has been to the Mariners' success this year.
Alex, you may give some pretty good perspective on this because you're from the Chicago area, right? How were you old enough to remember Sammy Sosa's run in '98?
So Sammy was my favorite player growing up. I was a little young for '98, but definitely remember parts of the '01 season and that magical '03 run that took the Cubs to the NLCS. And Sammy finished with the Cubs in '04. So I was around for the Sammy era, yes.
Okay, cool. So when he was doing his thing and hitting 60-plus home runs a year, did it feel like kind of what it's feeling like right now with Cal?
Yeah, I would say it's a great comparison, actually. I had a note the other day about, the June 21st home runs hitting their 30th that early. It was only Sammy and only Cal on that exact date, and they both happened to be at Wrigley Field. But, yeah, what Cal's doing with the long ball, it's Sammy, it's McGuire territory. I mean, he's on pace for 67 home runs this season and 143 RBIs. Will he hit those totals? Probably not, but you say the phrase on pace, and it's nothing to scoff at when you're 77 games into the season. You're not 25 games in or something like that where you have to extrapolate it over, times 8. You're really just timesing it by 2. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that Cal is matching those players at all.
When you talk about some great home run hitters, the little asterisk that people have for them is like, oh yeah, Barry Bonds, but also Barry Bonds. You want to talk about the steroid era? I don't think that Cal is using steroids. Doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. Doesn't look like he is. However, he is putting up absolutely ungodly home run numbers. So why do you think he's doing it? Like, what do you think he changed? I think that, Alex, just to be frank while I'm asking, when I look at baseball subreddit or subreddits of, let's say an opposing team, I think the number one thing that I notice from either opposing fans or non-Mariners baseball fans is, wow, this is really, really cool, but how? Why? I mean, there are a lot of fans around baseball that had never heard about Cal Raleigh before this year, which is wild because he's led all catchers in home runs for 2 consecutive seasons leading into this year. But there are a lot of new Cal Raleigh fans that are going, where did this come from?
Right. Yeah, I have no idea how he has 32 through the team's first 77 games. I don't think anyone has the answer to that. But I'm glad you touched on that last part, Stacy, because he hit 27 home runs 3 years ago. He hit 30 home runs 2 years ago, and he hit 34 last year. And he's led major league catchers in home runs going on a 4th straight season. So while this might be new to some national sports fans and national baseball fans, it's nothing new to our market. I think he's well overdue for his first All-Star bid. We'll get there and hopefully start this year. I think the home run total is going to be eye-popping at the end of the year, but really it's just a 28-year-old entering his prime with some magical special power.
Alex, it might be tough for him to pull off, but this may end up being a nice little research project from you. I love giving you these
Alex is cracking
during
his
this
knuckles.
segment because I want to know who has hit a home run from both sides of the plate against the most teams in a single season. Because I feel like Cal could definitely threaten that record.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. I mean, what he's doing from the left side and what he's doing from the right side is just immaculate. He's equally as good from both sides. I mean, the slash line, the OPS is above 1,000 from both sides. Our very own Gary Hill Jr. had a really good note today on his Twitter account. He had the ranking catchers by home run, splitting Cal left and right. Cal's 21 home runs from the left side of the plate, most in the big leagues, and then his 11 home runs from the right side of the plate, tied for fourth most among catchers. Crazy stuff.
What do you think changed on the right side? Like, do you remember conversations? Because you're so closely connected with the team. You're with the team. Do you remember conversations happening either from Cal or from the hitting staff or Wilson about him getting more work or focusing on the right side? Do you remember any of that, or was that even a focus?
I do, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So Cal's been asked that in the media, particularly on the Cal Raleigh show with Shannon Drayer on 710. I think the biggest improvement, I guess you could say, Cal's made from the right side of the plate is just reps. He always hammers that home. He says that, he gets a lot more at-bats now and has progressively year by year against left-handed pitching. So I think Cal's answer to you would be he's just seeing the ball more coming out of the left-hander's pitching arm. So I think it's just reps more than anything.
Alex, is there a home run that he's hit this season that you keep going back to, or just kind of like stopped and stared and was just like, holy cow, like what's going on
that's
here?
A good one. I would say I'm not launch angle or exit velo as much as most people. I'm more for the note, right? Because you guys know me. So if it produces a good,
my game.
I'm always rooting for the, my game. So yeah, I've got a very topical answer for you. We're playing the Twins now. I'm actually calling in from the Minnesota press box. It was the last time we played the Twins at home at T-Mobile Park when Cal hit his first home run against Zebby Matthews, who he went to same high school as, and then he hit the second home run off Cole Sands, his former college roommate. And Curtis, you had the tweet to me saying this has got to be the first time someone has homered off a pitcher that went to the same high school as him, and then a pitcher that went to the same college as him in the same game. So I'll have to go with that double trouble that game.
He is Alex Mayer, kind enough to join us to wrap up the dugout. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks,
have a good
Alex.
one.
Thank you, guys. Thanks as always.
All right, thank you to all of our guests for the Dugout. Mariners insider Shannon Drayer, of course, the voice of the Mariners, Rizzs, and finally, Alex, one of our favorite interviews every week. There's always something I learn. I don't know how his brain works. I truly don't. I can't fathom.
I get it.
It couldn't be me. Oh, you get because you guys are both nerds.
Right.
Either way, I'm grateful for your guys' tweets and the stuff that you find, and absolutely excited to see whether Alex can look into that switch hitter stat for you.
We'll definitely have an answer.
That was an impossible assignment, but we'll see what Alex can do. All right, you guys, Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Talking about the Mariners' plan for the trade deadline.
You think people are reticent to the minor leagues and trade some prospects?
I know fans develop a connection to names they hear over and over. Often you don't see these guys. I don't know how many people are making trips out to Everett or out to Tacoma to watch the young guys, but there just aren't any sure things.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health, it's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
I saw her texting coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Breaking news for the people of Boomtown. With Xfinity Mobile, the Wi-Fi is booming at